Howdy ho everyone, my name is CL and welcome to Spooky Boogie 2023. I think it's October 59th? The 59th day of October? I think that's what it is today. I don't know if Jin is here yet. It says they're here on my little moderators page, but sometimes it says that and they're not actually here. It's October 59th. I don't know what you're talking about, honey. Whatchamacallit. I had a big long day today. I was gonna stream a little earlier, like 4 hours ago or so, but I ended up hanging out with someone till like 5 to like 6 actually, that I thought I was only gonna hang out for a little bit because we ended up gossiping a lot. We were gossiping so much. It was so fun. It was someone from my work, so I did what I did and I ate some curry and I had a good time. Today we're gonna be playing a little Growing My Grandpa. Sal, have you said in the group? Can you say in the group chat, or can you message Jin to let them know that I'm streaming? Because they might be asleep. They might legitimately be asleep. But either way, I'm not gonna dilly dally a lot too much today. Today, since I am playing Growing My Grandpa, I heard it's like an hour and a half game or so. Probably like a 2-hour game for me. So, you know, what it is, it's what it's expected. You know, I do have work pretty early in the morning, so I'm not gonna like super dilly dally. I'm gonna get in there. But yeah. It is October 59th. We're getting pretty close to the end of October. Also, by the way, how does my audio sound? I have the microphone a little farther away than usual. I'm hoping that maybe it sounds okay. I'm hoping that actually sounds better than usual, but I'm not sure. Because usually, like, I feel like I tend to... My audio tends to be a little too loud. And my peaking tends to be a little kind of, like, frustrating. So I decided to put the microphone a little farther away. Just for the sake of it. I mean, they recommend like around a foot away from you. It's a little bit over a foot here, but usually I have it maybe half a foot away from my mouth. Whatchamacallit. So I'm not sure, but either way, since we're getting close to the end of October, wink, I'm probably gonna go ahead and try to finish Spooky Boogie sometime soon. I'll probably do a few more streams hopefully this week, but we'll see how it goes. My life has been pretty like messy lately, and it's a little difficult for me to be on track with these. But either way, here's the grandpa that we're growing. I don't know anything about this game. It's another one of these Jin's recommended games, as is everything. But I mostly chose it because it had a cool aesthetic and it's a pretty short one. So we should be able to finish it today, even though I did kind of loudly. You sound fine, but I'm blasting you through a combo, so I don't know if you're building this loud or not. Yeah, usually I always ask just to make sure I don't sound bad. But I can't really get like audio specifics when I'm on stream. I kind of have to check it over myself because no one is as critical as I am. But either way. Today we're listening to some Nintendo Halloween music by the channel Crazy Carrot, and now we are not listening to it anymore. Thank you, Crazy Carrot. I'm heading in there, since it is Halloween still, because that's what's happening. Photosensitivity warning, a small percentage of people die. Elements of body horror and gore. The game is best experience with mouse and keyboard. Jesus, that's loud. As if force is true. Okay, so... I just realized, wow, that's really loud. Is that loud to y'all? Because that's really loud to me. I have a new keyboard. It's like a 50% keyboard, and it doesn't have the function keys. I just realized that now, since it's the first time I've streamed with it now. And how do I press F4? Like, maybe like that? Is there... Let me see if I can look that up. 50% keyboard. Is that what I have? Not to press function keys. My friend bought me this. It is nice. It's a lot smaller than the one I used to have. But I didn't really think about it until just now. Cream pump type of blah blah blah. Your new best friend 60% is the F and keyword for anyone who own a laptop in the for this I think you have to use black hat for this. What? Well, you'll have to be black for this? I think you'll have to use a black hand for this? I'm sorry, what? What are you saying? What's a black hand? That sounds really weird. Were you hacked, Sal? What could you possibly be talking about? When you hold the FM key... Oh, is there an FM button? There might actually be one. Oh, a function button. The arrows... so if you want to use F1... Oh, that might work. F4. Ah, okay. Whatchamacallit? Apparently it's function 4. That makes sense. Okay, so I still can use function keys. Thank God. I press F5 to change the cursor color. Okay. I mean, I'm a whitey. I'm a right-handed whitey, and I'm this white. And what's this? Press F3 to disable or change the shade or intensity. Let's see, function 3. Oh, that's way too much. I think this slight wiggle is cute. Oh, is that what you were talking about? These hands? I mean, the only thing I hadn't even read this yet. When you said that I might be changing the black color hands. Is Christmas going to be spooky here? I'm so sorry. What are you talking about? Christmas? It's October 59, Bubbles. Like, I couldn't possibly be Christmas already. It's still October. It's still the 59th day of October. You're about to play some modded Minecraft? That sounds really fun. I haven't really been able to keep up with my Spooky Boogie schedule. I probably have around maybe 4 schedules on me. Sorry, 4 more streams on me for my Spooky Boogie stuff. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try to do one more game that's on high priority for my friend Jin. And then, like, a finale. And then I'm gonna be done with it. And then I'm gonna move on. Because it was, you know, October has been a messy month for me this time around. But either way, thank you. Thank you for coming by, Bubbles. And then I'll play Ball Battle. Yeah, exactly. And then you'll play Ball Battle. I want to play some goddamn Minecraft. That sounds fun. Can I cancel the stream and play some Minecraft? Either way. Have a good day, Bubbles. Thanks for coming around. Either way. Growing my grandpa. I don't really know much about this game. Recommended by Jin. I'm gonna get into it. I don't have too much time. Would you like a brief tutorial regarding the basic mechanics? Sure. Please read. The game is designed to be played with a mouse. The input required of you is based around clicking the mouse buttons. The right mouse button will change the cursor's image and function. When pointing, indicated by the extended index finger, can you, the player, interact with certain menu buttons and prompts. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The second cursor mode is indicated by the cursor's image featuring a hand extending all fingers. This mode concerns interacting with objects inside the world, mainly picking up an object and moving to another position. To continue, please pick up the piece of trash on the right and place it in the trash can on the left. Remember, the right mouse button would change the cursor's mode, but when holding something, the mode cannot be changed until the cursor is not holding something. Okay. So there's this, which is like the interact button, and then I can change it to the grab button, just like that, and then I can do that. Okay. Cool. There will be many situations. That's it. There will be many situations in Growing My Grandpa that will require you to pick things up, place things, grab things, or give things. Don't be afraid to experiment and keep an open mind about using your hand. Ta-dang! Please click the button below to continue. Remember, menu buttons must be clicked in the pointer mode. Okay, so I gotta change over. It's a little bit of a weird distinction, but I kind of like it. In order to expedite the cleaning process, you can use digits 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard numbers at the top. At the top of the keyboard to reposition the trash can below. Try moving the can to the right of the screen. 3 on your keyboard. In order to continue, well done. Please click the continue button to move on. Please remember many buttons can be clicked. Okay. Interesting. So it's going to be a game where I'm going to have to memorize. Oh my god, I have to press the function keys? I don't have those! But, whatchamacallit, it's going to be a game where I have to memorize a lot of control inputs because it's probably going to focus on me interacting with things really on a quick pattern, and I'm gonna have to remember all these funky controls. The variety of video options can be changed anytime through the function of F3, F4, and F5. F3 to adjust or disable the shaders. Oh, never mind. This is just telling me that I can change the... Okay, that's nice. There are 3 cursor colors and plus the left-handed variants of each color scheme. By default, Grow My Grandpa displays is scaled up by a factor of 2 and the shader is set to low. I am A-okay with full screen and the shader being set to low. Configuration option overlay. Hovering over the small question mark in the top right provides an overlay related to available configured options. Try hovering over it. This will be available all time during the game. Yes, that's it. Yeah. And it tells me like that's how you change the things. Yeah. Those ends the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed Growing My Grandpa. Infinite thanks to my patrons and supporters for reliving me and my work. Okay, darling James. I don't know your gender, so I can't really call you Mrs. or Mister, but I'm gonna go with you, James. Yams? More like? Week 1, baby! That's 1 week to grow my grandpa! I wonder how long it takes to grow a paternal figure, to enlarge a paternal ancestor. I excused Adrian during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of demerits. It was her first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluation, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Mrs. Richardson's classroom observation concerning Adrian's emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. As I understand it, she is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she absolutely must. Some things she imply will not do. She simply won't do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit. One sec. I'm gonna move some things around to make this easier to read. Simply will not do. Instead of participating in a mandatory group activity, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Demerit! Before the meetings. Okay, so this game is set in the 1950s when people still called demerit. When demerits were still a thing. Before the meeting, I read Mrs. Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about Adrian's home life. The parents are well educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrian. She is often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem not to understand the importance of warmth and affirmation when dealing with someone so young. So she has bad parents. Me too, baby. I'm just like her, for real, for real. Having 2 parents of this reserved and icy temperament exacts an inhibition in a child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only ostensibly, for it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmise that I would be able to reach out to Adrian by the way of make-believe. We're gonna grow a grandpa together and, you know, get to know each other. Is that her? She looks a little 2D. How are you liking your new house? You told me you used to live close by, but it still can be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school. The basement? I like it. The basement? Well, that's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. I hope that voice is okay. Well, not that I hope it's okay. I hope you can hear it, because sometimes when I try to get high like that, it cuts me off. Your mom and dad made you go? Yeah, that's a lot of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though. Why did they send you down there? Fighting. They were fighting, shouting. I came in to help, and they shouted at me. They said, "Go clean up downstairs." So I went. That sounds real tough, buddy. Do they fight a lot? Well, they It's alright, Adrian. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead. Okay. Well, it was weird first. The stuff down there, but cool. I found something living, sort of. That's very interesting, Adrian. Please tell me more. By indulging her... Sorry, nope. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrian's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. Am I a therapist? The symbol of Adrian's story seems to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. This woman got too much anxiety. Her parents are getting a divorce. Whatever might come out of next meeting, whatever she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down Her story here. Okay. Adrian's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle, the goal of cleaning up. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Maybe the parents. Oh, wow, cool! It's like a point and click game with a somewhat asymmetric view and like a visual style of like a classic 90s point and click game. Oh man, those games are so fun. Remember that really cool game? Sorry, why do I get excited? Remember that really cool game that inspired that other game, Night Signal, that I played a little while ago on stream? 49 days ago on stream. And it was talking about this game that inspired me with really uncanny faces. I really want to play that. Did we add that to the list? I asked Jin, knowing full well they're playing Minecraft and they will not respond. Flashbacks, okay. Uh-huh. Those are flashbacks. It's okay. They don't have to respond. They're busy. Oh, I picked these up, okay. I don't know what these are. Branches? Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the walls, she noticed the interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window? I offer. No, she said like a mirror, reflecting inwards towards the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here's where the material reality of the story took a turn for the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew or extended. It's a shaggy-haired self. Its shaggy-haired self, hair like a fur of a dog. I offered. No, she said. Also, Jin Tsuneko's friend is playing Lethal Company. Isn't that what Jin is playing? Jin, are you cheating on me with Lethal Company at the moment? Not the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out towards her, the animal's hair reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight, like the hair on a brush. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. Oh, hi, Jin. I asked, do you remember that game that inspired Night Signal that I thought had a really cool aesthetic and like that 90s point-and-click adventure? Did you add that to the list? I remember asking for that, but I'm not really sure if you did. I asked her what else she was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked, faceless figurines of anime figures. I heard these cryptic utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be simply metaphors for the anonymity she feels in her own home. The hidden passage, I am sure of what to make of it. I don't know what game you're talking about, but I've added every game you said. Okay, you probably did then. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things in that list, but I think I asked for that way before the list was made, so I'm not sure if it's in there. But well, you did have a list. You just didn't have the Google Doc one. This woman, she feels sad and lonely because she's a little girl. The revealing of the conceal seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. Oh, that looks like a face right there. Like a little furry face for a furry. Is there any point in moving these? Pet the doggy. Pet the doggy. Okay, totally a point and click adventure, I see. But it like kind of points things out. So I'm not sure. Ooh, a trash pile. Anything I can pick up here? Nope, that sure is a trash pile. What's this? Nothing there. Oh, well, that's horrifying. It's just a scary basement where I will eventually proceed to grow a grandpa. The darkness of the shadowy corner will nourish you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. This is a flashback. What do you mean some form of light? Can I interact with this door? It doesn't look like it. There's a trash pile, but I don't really see anything interactable. I mean, this thing is shiny. But that might just be film grain or something. Do I have to wildly point at things, or will everything be labeled like this? What? Press F2 to adjust to disable shader settings. Press F4 to cycle through. Oh, I didn't even do that. Doesn't seem like I can do much. Man, 3 seconds into a game and I'm already very confused. I mean, there's obvious interaction points like this. Kind of looks like there's a little like guy right here, and this is a hand. And he's going, go that way, please, go that way. Well, there's not much to interact with other than this door. You don't see it? Maybe I'm just a little cookie. It's okay. Oh, those little things on the side, obviously. Once you remove the panels, I forgot that that's a thing. That's how they explain it. They just don't really seem like visual inputs that you can interact with. Once you remove the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. Got a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her like grandpa, and a magic glue. Oh, and some creepy guys. Well, let's take the doll. A slouching doll. Its material is rough and coarse, and it gets everywhere. This trash. Oh. Paper is cruelly bound together to form a book. Euresin step by Shamnissen and Fusiform Gidus. I think that's Latin? A dissertation by Jacob Hart. Oh, I love Jacob Hart. Love that guy. Probably in the CL section. Read now. The impetus of the research was the recognition of particular pattern and fragments of documents relating to magic and magical religious practices. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws relating to the banning of sorcery and necromancy, compilations of folk charms relating to love spells, hagiographics of saints and their encounters with devils, and lists of spans many centuries of great distance, from the Laman of Khazar Kaganet and the border of the modern nation states of Russia and Kazakhstan. From this paper trail arose a consistent account about a certain form of magic relating to the binding of demons to a sorcerer's will. A demon cult, the Heavens of Needles, which is also my favorite, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stan, or the Angel of Needles. Also, someone by the name of Hungry Burger on my Steam library is playing Lethal Company. God, that game is real popular right now. In it, a demon called the Heavy or the Angel of Needles was known to be kept best by shamanic keepers or wards who suffer from the face blindness, prosopagnosia, whether by birth or through development causes like a stroke or head injury. It was known to be extremely effective, but terribly dangerous, so much so that it became outlawed several times and was generally a popular scapegoat relating to unexpected death. This nexus of magical religious meaning-making, sorcery regarding human-related desires, and the history and science of neurological disorders related to the fusiform gyrus is where the subject of the dissertation will reside. So is this lady who's talking to her therapist, this little girl, is she like saying all of this? So then I pick up a book and it was on the ground and it said that this nexus of magical religious meaning-making sorcery regarding human-related desires and the history of science neurological disorders relating to the fusiform gyrus is where the where the subject of the dissertation will reside. That's what it said. That's what it said. And then it said, I will add further. And then add the historical resources. I mean the sources. Sorry, I get those words mixed up. I mentioned previously that I would go into neurological, mystic, and magical religious experiences. What is all these literatures? And you're cutting out? Yeah, I assume it was gonna happen eventually. But like, is that what's happening? Like, in the context of this game, I'm hearing this through the eyes, through the ears of the therapist, right? Like, this little girl is not saying all this stuff, is she? After that, I will detail an ongoing correspondence with a resident of the Ural Mountain region who is expert folklorist and keeper of traditions he claims have been passed down through his extended family for generation. Extended family, sorry. Cool. And there was glue? All-purpose glue, baby. I'm sure the little girl could remember this. Clean up all this trash, I guess. Oh, there's another thing there. I'll clean. This space will not be dirty again. Until next week. Oh, God. Oh, is that my grandpa? My grandpa kind of doesn't look like a... My grandpa giving bad vibes. I don't know. My grandpa looks like he might be into little kids. I don't know if that's an offensive thing to say, but this guy looked like he's a Wario in real life. Homie looked like he's Wario in real life. A photo of your late grandfather. Rest in peace. I interrupted the test. I opted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow, Grandpa, she explained. Grow, Grandpa, she explained painfully, and then, without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately, she explained slowly. Grandpa lives in the cage in the other room, the cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. Okay. You want me to grow Grandpa? You have no Grandpa anymore, so you're gonna grow him. And this is like the evil room where they keep the evil. Can't interact with any of this, I don't think. Should I go back to the shadow? I can interact with this. Hastily read a note. Read now. I have repeatedly called your homes to no avail, and so I am forced to leave this here for you all. I found William sitting in the corner of the enclosure area, seemingly severely concussed. Whiskers was gone, and none of the usual hiding places. I immediately suspected the worst. The project those must be suspended for now. I am leaving up the visual mirror coverings we used to keep the anthropodic void sealed. I hope I have done my best to lock up everything on such a short notice. It is hasty fix, but it will require some time to find a more permanent remedy. Who left this? I am honestly hoping you do not find this note, as I intend to lock this house down too. I intend to race off to you to retrieve your lockbox keys. Do not worry about William's key. It and the rest of his equipment is almost certainly deep within Whiskers now. I pray you do not enter this room. No matter how it may appear, William cannot be helped and is only being kept alive in the means to continuing predation on the rest of us. Okay, sure. I'm a little confused about what's going on here. But there seems to be a lot of lore dump on me. It is an hour-and-a-half game. So I assume it makes sense, right? I will say once again, no matter what state you may encounter William in, he cannot be helped. I have sympathy for the young man. I truly do. But I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which would imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Our extent research materials have now become possible liabilities, either criminal or professional in nature, so I have stashed them away. I believe I'll let you all know how I will do this if we were able to experience an event such as this. I hope you'll remember what I told you. So long then. There's a lot to read here. A note on the experiment, 1 of 4. 1. For the sake of university policy and the help of any future career you hope to have, you will be abide by the non-disclosure contract you have signed. Do not break the anthropodic vacuum without my prior consultation and approval. Any anthropodic form brought into the closure area. must not be left unattended. When not in dormancy, a sample will not attempt to take anthroponic shells. Please see shell notes for more on that. Classic shell notes. Samples of exposure to some of the neuronal activity is unavoidable. However, the speed at which the serious yield is produced can be dampened by several precautions regarding libidinal and emotional urges. Keep conversations not related to lab work to a minimum. If you begin to suspect your development attachment to your colleagues, contact me as soon as possible. Okay. Sure. Ritual behavior with the sample. Trading bargaining will result in dismissal from the project. The precise mechanism of the exchange of symbols and gifts required for requested desirous yield is not known, and even the anecdotal account of success are illegible and in violent death. Okay, Jesus. Growth cycles, it says. Regarding growth cycles, every time Whiskers generates and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged into new propagations. So then, Mr. Therapist, I went up to the door and it said that regarding the growth cycles, every time Whisker regenerates and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged as a new propagation. That's what it said, Mr. Therapist. The samples of the bodily existence cannot be illegible. I.e., a part cannot be cut from the host, so there can only be a living propagations. Propagations are to be terminated after 5 weeks. Any further development puts us at risk. Termination procedures will be posted and following with extreme care. With all of that out of the way, I want to welcome you to the project. I look forward to working with you, Dr. Hart. Okay. Alright. Beyond the door in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. Oh, I didn't mean to go in there. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It is strange, almost poetic, the elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. Oh, that's that. Here's a tarp. Okay, so if I'm picking up this, there's some kind of lab experiment where they're keeping some kind of being or something or other behind this room where they're trying to grow a being. This is the room where they grow things. I don't know if the people who are doing this are the parents. It sounds like it's a university of some kind of study of some kind, doctor thing. Is it behind this tarp? The case she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing. She confided at first. Took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa. And she combined them, and she wished very hard. She's growing a grandpa. I can only assume in this family the next her wish would come true. And what child's story would it not? Does it not come true? Are you doing human strand mutation? Well, it doesn't look like there's anything here. Particular human representation, generic human figure. So for human representation, I have a photo of my grandpa, and for the figure, I have this lobby doll, and then I glue them together. That's him! My grandpa, you're back! Wario in real life! My grandpa Wario! A tangible symbol of intention and desire. She put grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. Ah, okay. Maybe the grandfather was the scientist and he was growing someone, and this is the house they made. They did the rituals, the weird magic rituals. And now this is her grandfather because her parents are kind of pieces of garbage, yo. So they like fight and stuff. I don't know. Anyhow, they're like getting in awards or something. So now she's down here doing some funky stuff. With what's left of her grandfather's research. She wished with all her heart, and then she told me she waited a while for something. Anything to happen. And after that, she began to cry. I cried really hard, she said. I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me. It hurt me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt like it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrian, and she left me to rejoin her class. Okay, so I am a school therapist or a counselor who sees this child once a day, I guess. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing I interpret, the impression I get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Knowledge you acquire this week has given you access to certain topics or keywords you can discuss with Grandpa. You have gained the conversation topic wish. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Okay. Yeah, when Grandpa comes back, you also have gained the following keyword. I'm gonna tell him about wishes and shells. Okay. Alright, so it's 5 weeks at Grandpa's. Which should be the name of this episode. And I am talking once a week to this child. About what's going on, but she's doing black magic in the basement. She's doing a little funky black magic. I met again with Adrian in order to address her emotional outbursts. In the past few weeks, it is our second time meeting, and while it isn't standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the counseling department, I could not help but think as we sat down in my office that Adrian already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence, and perhaps my and Mrs. Richards' estimation of her was emotionally stark was erroneous. Erroneous. Just say it was wrong. Don't use words like that. You know, there's a pathway for you to use certain uncommon words in a sentence where, you know, you might have already used a word similar a few times in the sentence, so you maybe don't want to come off as awkward, so you'll use something different. But when you're writing something like this, just say wrong. There was no reason to say erroneous. Like, who are you? The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrian possessed last week was not entirely diminished, but she seemed to hold herself differently this week. However, this only lasted as long as her conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. When I began once again asking about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school, and her new home, she quickly lost what new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So once again, I partook in some collaborative make-believe. But this time, I was aided by the fact that I had managed to do some research into Adrian's grandfather. And I had Mr. Wario, Mr. Real Life Wario, and I had some insight into what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds, some as a school counseling caseworker, but this was all the service of making Adrian comfortable and happy in this learning environment. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding Mr. Grandfather Wario by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I have a habit of sleuthing, but I had suspicion that Grandfather was a researcher due to the fact that the newly constructed laboratory on the campus I drive by every day bears his name in memorial. He was some sort of anthropologist. Also, the name of the research the science lab is Wario Laboratories. He was sort of anthropologist or linguist or neuroscientist. I did not have to dig deep before the scope of this work became dizzying, and I ran up against the limits of my undergraduate education. But even though I only have an undergraduate degree, I still use incredibly annoying, beverage, verbose language, because, I mean, that's what people do. Incredibly annoying. People who lack education, but have gotten some education, will go out of their way to use fancy language. So annoying. But back to the make-believe. Oh, this little girl. Oh, wow, she looks so weird. What is your grandpa like? Is he a smart man? Not anymore, but I'm teaching him. So he's grown a good deal then. You have been feeding him well. Why are you shitting at them? Because he's annoying. Stop talking like that, old man. Yeah, he's getting bigger, but he has a lot of room in his cage. He's still behind the bars? Yeah, well, he might be able to climb out eventually. There's a vent in the ceiling. He's gonna vent? Well, perhaps he might be able to vent through the ceiling, like in the hit video game Among Us? Well, perhaps if he climbs out, I could meet him someday. Yeah, maybe. But he's not ready to leave. He can't take care of himself. I have to feed him and pick up after him. You store the food in your lunchbox. Cute lunchbox, lady. Little girl. That's nice of you to share. He can almost talk. You cannot speak with him? He doesn't. He doesn't have a mouth, sort of. How do you feed him? He has a mouth on the outside, on his shell, or the stuff that is his skin. I'm a little confused. Maybe you can go through a typical day with your grandpa? Okay. I asked her to explain how exactly she goes. She goes about growing her grandpa, and Adrian began another tale. Oh, title drop! Growing my grandpa. 1 second. I'm gonna transfer over some water to my incredibly topical October Halloween mug that does have some dust on the sides here. I wiped the inside, but I did not think to wipe the outside. I asked her to explain how she goes about growing her grandpa. And Adrian began another tale. According to Adrian, in the week that had passed, what a fancy mug for some water. Look, I bought it. I need to show it up, okay? According to Adrian, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. Oh, it does look a little different. What's this? The hairy thing that was here before is gone. I have glue and my lunchbox. Come. You should go see Grandpa first? Okay, if you say so. How's Grandpa doing, huh? Wake Grandpa. I must awake Grandpa. It was scary at first, he said. The way he moved, the way the doll skin covered him. I wanted to interject, but somehow it seemed inappropriate. But I kept listening. When I looked at him, she continued. When I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he is growing for me. So he's growing bigger now, I asked. Yes, she said bigger every day. Ooh, okay. Grandpa, looking a little sexy. Oh, Jesus Christ, Grandpa, you're looking less warrior than usual. Oh my god, the way that it's like a 3D figure is kind of dope. So is this a combination of the hairy thing and the grandpa? This begins the actual growing part of growing your grandpa. Beneath the doll's burlap skin, the follicles knit together what resembles a proper person. Your grandpa. You are in charge of its cognitive development and diet until it's able to sustain itself. Currently, you are observing grandpa. Please click the arrow back button below for a brief tutorial of your duties as a caretaker. This is pretty interesting and kind of cool, but I don't really like the way that the game tutorializes you so much. I kind of wish it would just let you figure it out by yourself, but it is what it is. Here we can see a variety of options regarding growing your grandpa. Highlighted in red are objectives related to feeling and teaching grandpa. Important messages regarding grandpa's recent activity will also appear here. You will need to find it food and learning material before you can move on to the next week. Some foods will make grandpa happy, others merely content. Some foods will make grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Like, he really doesn't like tomatoes. Learning materials is also scattered throughout basement. Seek out vocabulary cards intended to help teach English and basic anthropoidic concept formations. The options highlighted in red are related to investigating around grandpa's enclosure. Okay. Go to grandpa options will lead you to perform all actions directly related to grandpa, feeding, teaching, observing, etc. Processing the study corners will let you go to any documents you pick up as the week go by. It's a good idea to learn about the work of people who have less occupied the space. I ain't reading all that. Accessing the kitchen corner will let you search for food in the old refrigerator and prepare food for grandpa if need be. The help button will replay this tutorial. The save game will save your current progress. You can only have one save file at a time, so if you have a save data, you'll be asked if it's okay to overwrite it. The exit game will make you take you to the main menu. Okay. More buttons may or may not appear depending on your development with Grandpa, so watch out for them. One final note, take care to explore the basement on your leisure. However, due to the anthropic nature of clutter and trash, different weeks may allow you to find things you had previously not discovered. Okay, yeah, of course. That's how trash works. Alright, let's save the game. First of all, feed Grandpa. Except for fools eating, seek out things to feed Grandpa. And words start, find vocabulary words and help Grandpa speak. Explore the basement. Okay, so I can go here. I can do this. I can leave. Everything is gone. Salmon. Trash. Cool. Go to the trash pile. Oh, I love me some trash pile, baby. Time to read more documents. What is behind here? That looks funky. It's just rubble. There's more trash under the trash. Corroded battery? This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. What if I want to feed him actual food? What if I don't want to go out of my way to feed my grandpa literal garbaggio? Linguistic modules. Vocabulary card hello. Teach grandpa this word to read the notes of patch educators. Modules administrator will record detail on opposite side. Okay. If he looks at a flashcard, just like me, if I look at a flashcard, I immediately learn the word. Bulbous growth. Something appears to be growing from the wall. You have a closer look. Ew! Ew! Delicious. I want to eat it. A pulsating sac. The slimy membrane that its skin seems to be containing something. You might be able to open with a blade. Ew, ew, that's so gross. I don't want to open nothing with no blade. This is still too dark for me. Check out the cabinet. Salmon, sloshing under the weight of rot and refuse. Look at the cabinet, latching. Okay, time for my favorite gameplay element. Picking trash and throwing it in. Click and click again. And then, at some point, when there's something underneath, I might be able to click a different button, like this one, and then click. I got blueberries. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. I'll clean this space. Will not be dirty again until next week. Top drawer. Ah, Jesus. Look, darling, who... The entropic nature, or whatever it said, entropic? The entropic nature of trash is pretty frustrating, I gotta say. Oh, wow, look at these doll heads. That's pretty creepy. An account of acquisition. You can examine these details at the study corner. Oh, I did not mean to do that, but okay. I'll check out the study corner's bottom drawer. Oh, here's the safe. Can't get in there. Need a key for that. Something about the painting looks strange. Search painting. There is something there. A folded full of radiographic images. You can examine this in the study corner. Okay, so nowadays, if I want to read things, I have to do it in the study corner. And then search trash pile as usual. My favorite gameplay dynamic. What is that? Is that a squirrel? Am I squirrel stapling? Fiberglass insulation. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. What if I don't want to feed my grandpa garbage? Okay, what if I want to give him real food? I just have this deep desire to actually clean everything, you know? I know, like, I find things and it might be the end of it, but I want to look at everything. I mean, glue is pretty edible. I eat glue sometimes. Examine. The waste here smells particularly strong. Me when I grow my grandpa. Yeah, grandpa, classic grandpa moment. Why wouldn't some freaky shit like this ever happen to me, huh? Ooh, a simple paper doll. This might be useful in the construction of magic symbols. Like, I want some freaky shit. I want to be a child, just a creepy child who grows a grandpa and has like some horrible experience like this. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, I can't check this anymore, it seems. Alright, let's go to my study corner. Look over documents. My magic boon, hasten and read a nut. Oh, there's the paper doll. Here's the radiograph. I can look at this, maybe. Oh, can I not look at them? No, I wanna read it, but maybe I'm acquisition note. I can read this. Before we begin, he had us all cover our faces completely. An earthenware pot was and on the inside, as we stole brief glances at it, we could see the interior was inlaid with mirrors. The ant gave it small pieces of dough, spoiled food, chicken feed, and keeping it content. The keeper gestured towards a small bag where the food composed and told us to be careful and not to feed it any meat. Okay, I asked if the rotted food was enough to sustain it. How I might get nutrients from any of this. So I shouldn't feed it meat. The keeper regarded me seriously and said it did not matter what it was fed. The act of feeding itself was what mattered. The act of feeding flesh is another act. However, he then gave me another series of grave warnings regarding not keeping any animal-derived foods near where I might be keeping it. Okay. Don't keep... Okay. Okay, this stuff is useful. So maybe I should write some of this stuff down. Let's get one of my classic notes. I'm gonna write this stuff down. So number 1, tip to grow your grandpa healthily and wonderfully. No meat. Number 2, no meat / animal products near it. Like, don't store it near it. All right, that's useful. Let's have vocabulary words, and these let's see if I can read this real fast. Alright. No worries, darling. Take your time. The samples versus some of the neural activities and blah 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 blah. Okay. Was there any useful information here? Ritual behaviors for samples trading bargain. Okay. Leaves Stormont seem to be locked new proposition. The sample's body lexis cannot be blah blah blah. It cannot be cut from the whole, so there can only be a living purpose. But they have to be terminated after 5 weeks, apparently. I have repeatedly called your home to no avail, and so I'm forcing to leave this here for you. I found William sitting in the corner, blah 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 blah. Okay, so when you create a being, when you grow a grandpa, you have to use mirrors. I'm gonna write that down just for the sake of it. Mirrors to seal it. Mirrors. Seal it. I will say once again, no matter what state you may encounter, welcome back, darling. You may encounter William, he cannot be helped. I have sympathy for the young man, I truly do, but I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which may imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Along that, okay. Easily written not, and then the magic book. Recognition, okay. I'm not reading this again. This was pretty hard to decipher. I mean, generally, it's just a lot of mumbo jumbo there. But for as far as rules, no meat. We can store meat near it, and mirrors seal it away. Examine educational posters. Get rid of that one, I guess. A set of procedures regarding disposal slash internment. Alright, let me read this now. The researchers will seal off the enclosure bars, ensuring minimal gas leakage during the later fumigation process, and then retrieve the burn barrel and place it near the enclosure. Allow at least 48 hours of time where the current growth cycle experiences no human-related stimuli. Do not enter the enclosure area nor any part of the basement. Ideally, you will not be on the grounds at all. After 48 hours, 2 researchers will enter the basement and wearing the assigned mirror mask, mirror apron, and power air purifying respirator. The mirror mask. The researchers will use the vent system to vent to fumigate the enclosed area. Wait 30 minutes and then use the fan system to ventilate the enclosure. Keep the fans running during step 3 and through 4. Re-enter the enclosure area wearing your assigned mirror mask and aprons. The organism may or may not be in complete dormancy. It is not in full dormancy. If it is not in full dormancy, be assured that its capacity to act against you will be greatly diminished. With your assigned power drills, quickly remove any enclosed bars needed to access the organism. Put them aside for later reinstallation. Put the organism into the burn barrel. Incinerate the organism thoroughly. Wait for any smoke to be properly cleared by the fan system. Turn off the fans. One researcher will retrieve the nucleus from the ash and place it in the mirror box. The other researchers will sift through the ash and place any other substantial remains in the biohazard bin in the room inside the enclosure. The bin is locked for safety purposes. The code is 323245. I'm going to write that down. The researchers will fill out termination forms and leave it to Dr. Hart. Again, a conversation topic. Consider discussing when Grandpa emerges. Biohazard bin. Okay. So if it has no human stimuli, the grandpa you're growing, it kind of becomes dormant. And you can use that as an opportunity to come back with like mirror suits, because that helps seal it, and then burn it and kill it, because that's part of the whole 5-week cycle, right? So much to look at this time around. What's that? I got cashews. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Okay, Grandpa might like that. As long as we don't feed it meat. It's gonna desire it, though. Account of an acquisition. Okay. It is said to pass from one family of steppe people to another, but pressed on its ultimate origin. Somewhere to the south, coiled in a bowl covered in incantations, buried upside down by a graveyard, a common late antiquity demon trap. Feed Grandpa trash and he grows. He eats anything, but don't feed him meat. The keeper, an elderly man in failing health, was ready to expound on and on about the dangers of the organism. When I asked more pointed questions about the history of its acquisition, I was given curt responses that had a way of circling back to vague warnings. Oh. Where was that again? Yeah, sure. So old-timey people, they did things with the beings. Don't do things with the beans, kids. Don't grow grandpas, kids. Remember that. This feels pretty empty so far. But there's so many notes here, and this is the only one that matters. Oh, linguistic cards grandpa. Now I can teach my grandpa to say the word grandpa. Come on, darling. I need the goods. I need the linguistic words. I need to teach my grandpa how to say the word grandpa. What are these? Are these like keeping the sides sealed? If you remove the tape down traffic to rebuild a cabinet wooden below. Oh, clean. Nice. Okay. Cleanup procedures. Okay, this might be important. Read this. To my colleagues, I don't mean to be overly severe and toad, but Doctor's hard work is very important, and the material we are working with is potentially very dangerous. I will be handing out a copy of the note as a reminder to everyone. I am trying to single any particular person out. We all have misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. With that out of the way, here are some things you have to keep in mind. The active growth must be thoroughly terminated by the correct procedures at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. Okay. So I can only grow for 4 weeks, so you need to kill it or something will happen. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures, how much the anthropoidic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide to terminations will be posted by the enclosure wall. Please do not place the educational posters over this posting. I did. They did that. Do not disturb the anthropoidic vacuum without Dr. Hart's prior consultation and approval. In case of any emergency where the vacuum is disrupted, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note on when and how the breach occurred. If you find the habitat empty, page Dr. Hart immediately. You want me to page him? Okay, so this game took place. These experiments took place in the 90s when people still use pagers. Immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. The thing can get very smart. I'm sure you're all well aware about the stories we heard on our acquisition trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potential aggressive mimicry scenario. Please seek me out if you have any more questions. Okay, so you gotta kill it, and it might get smart. As because William, anyhow, sorry. So that's what was, you gotta keep track of that because they grow in 5 weeks at Febbies. You can examine this in detail later on. No, I'll read it now. The research participants, please take note. Each growth from a cycle does not require a shell, but you may find this sample will often try and seize on something somewhere flexible it can grow onto, along with any desirous yield it may generate, or else it will move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them. In the small amount of time I have spent with it in preparation, I have noticed it tends towards human forms. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropoidic seal in order to be cautious before we begin to experiment with exposing it long-term to anthropoid stimuli. Okay. So it grows on shells like this stall that I'm putting it on. And at some point when it gets too big, it lets go of them and it wants bigger shells. And it has a mimicry event. So it mimics things like the grandpa, I guess. What's this one? Medical imagining device. You slip the radiographic images you found into the image machine. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. It's turning on. Ah, it's like a fucked up human skull. Notes and details. Intriguing sons with regard to the mimic hypothesis. A participant enters a sealed chamber adjacent to Whiskers, which is the name of the being. What was the name? What was the word that they used in Twin Peaks and also Who's Lila? The Tupa, remember that? We did a lot of research on that. I don't know if any of y'all remember that, but I did a lot of Wikipedia article reading about that. The Topa. It's like some kind of belief from some kind of tribe of some kind about giving life to something by giving it idea or something. The Tulpa? It might have been Tulpa. Here, maybe I'll look it up. I'm getting that kind of... There it is. Tulpa is a concept of journaling from Tibetan Buddhism and found in later tradition of mysticism and paranormal, of mysterious being of thought form, typically in human form that is created through spiritual practice and intense concentration. Modern practitioners who call themselves Tupomancers use the term to refer to a type of willed imaginary being which practitioners consider of this sentient and relative independent. Yeah, so you give someone, through the idea of giving someone thought, they become real and they become a Tulpa being, an imaginary friend that's real. I don't know why I'm getting that kind of vibe from this. The idea that you're willing beings into existence from growing them or thinking of them. which has been freed from the anthropogenic vacuum and quite economically from plastic and broken mirrors. The first propagation of original earthenware vacuum was shattered during the move-in. During the two, there was a semi-opaque glass panel that allowed observation both ways. The human participant was asked to think of someone in the popular consciousness, fictional or no, and conjugate in their image, personality, or face. Yeah, they're doing tulpomancy. Like they're making a tulpa. They're imagining something, and then this being is like taking that shape. Cognitive on their image, personality, face if possible, voice if possible, etc. Our participant chose Jesus of Nazareth, and with weekly repeated exposure to the participant imagining propagation number 21, begin forming that resemble an anthropoid Nazarene in the fold of its spines. Previous human-oriented tests have always bore out as a result that Whiskers would form an anthropoid team member, be it me or Dr. Hart or Gerald, and we assume it was merely mimicking one of us. Dr. has always contended the desired yield, or the anthropoid reproduction Whisker creates when it contacts with human beings. There's a lot of lore here, and I can kind of see if somebody's watching this, them getting kind of lost. I'm kind of getting lost a little bit. I feel like there's game's a little too verbose. I mean, it's obviously on purpose because they're trying to ride these like scientific journals and stuff like that, but it does kind of feel a little like too much. Anthropoid Whiskers creates when contact with human being, as always is based on the conception in relation to the person through someone else. With this framework, the desired yield is not actually a replica of a person, or if it is only a replica of the fiction of a person, generated in the mind of another. The desired yield was not Jesus Christ, but the participant's image of Jesus, assembled from their religious upbringing, religious artwork, depictions, and popular culture. Etc. This radiograph was taken right before the destruction of the growth cycle, while Whiskers was rendered unconscious via fumigation. It seems like with every successive propagation, the stem cells in the organism work a little faster. But I'm not paranoid. It is technically deathless, yet, but we're burning up whatever knowledge it gained when we incinerate it. I don't believe in magic just yet. But this being... Oh, there's a lot of that. Propagation number 21, Jesus of Nazareth. So this pile of stem cells is creating it's taking the thoughts of a person to create like a kind of tulpomancy, a tulpa, where they're growing. So essentially, this little girl put this vessel with the mask in the cage where the stem cells or whatever, the cells, the monster being, to grow her grandma. But because she is thinking of her grandma, her grandpapa, Wario, it should take on it should mimic the grandpa, but that doesn't mean that it will become the grandpa. It'll just become it'll just use that as an attempt to escape, because that's what it wants to do. What's going on here? Propagation number 2, days here. Okay, well, we have taken a calling in Whiskers through a course of somewhat interrupted. Oh, so the being or the pile of stem cells or whatever is the little hairy guy. Okay. I should have put that together, honestly, by the name Whiskers, but we have taken to calling him Whiskers, though, of course, some of his interpreted as hair or needles or quills, but Whiskers is more accurate, as the needles are really more like suppressory follicles or spines. The nerve nets distributed throughout the morphology of these spines resemble those of genus Hydra, but have mammalian sheaths, but are functionally the same as vertebrae. As we can see in the X-ray, each spine is laden with dense optical arrangements similar to compound eyes. The Hydra connection is and surely worth investigating with regard to organism capacity for generation and anecdotal deathlessness. Considered it is robust through research to inspire marvel and untinged with fear. Okay, so propagation number 2, that's this Whiskers, that's the pile of stem cells. Propagation number 14. Exposure to mammalian forms, part of a series of zoomorphic influences, led to further understanding of the propagation ability to stimulate the somatic stem cells to continue fully developed animals. I write simulate in the previous statement because examining the tissues of each propagation leads me to believe its amazing capacity of accelerated growth of vastly different forms comes from its cell level mutability. And yet at no time does it function as the thing it becomes, except in the sense of that it mimics it. That is to say, when whiskers are removed from the dormancy and replicates a rabbit's morphology, it is not smelling from the rabbit's nose, but pretending that it does, and doing a very good job at it. Okay, so if you give it an animal, it'll take that form, but it'll just act like it. It's like mimicking that being. It'll pretend like it's using their nose to do a big old whiffy sniff sniff, but it's not actually doing that. It's just doing a little sniff sniff. The radiograph was taken day 10 after dormancy, vacuum broken, number term at 12 days. The radiograph was taken at around growth cycle number 4. The strange thing about it was the subject of the image was found nowhere near the enclosure. It's almost like a piece of whiskers fell off and scurried into the corner. I feel like we've learned a lot since then. At the time I remember speaking about the morphology being weird, not really even resembling any extensomorphic structure, besides maybe a cuttlefish. Then I happened to open the thing up. Inside were all these little dead amoeba-like things, but they all sort of looked like they had faces. Faces that were just barely there. After I took the radiograph, I gathered it up and went go through it the biohazard bin. Anyhow, so whiskers, it's not technically creating like a tulpa-like being. It's similar in concept because it comes from thoughts, but whisker is its own being, not created by thought. It's created by biology, just using the thought as a baseline. I sound like a crazy person right now. And inside were all these little dead amoeba-like things, but they all had sort of looked like they had faces that were just barely there. After I looked at the radiograph, I gathered it up and went to threw it in the biohazard. As I walked by the bars of the enclosure, I could hear whiskers suddenly going wild, bopping around the grunting exceedingly. Could it have smelled the cuttlefish thing? Would it eat its own production? I guess it's technically flesh. This is beyond the scope of the project, but it could be without the stimuli of an active brain, or more specifically a healthy and cognitive brain capable of face recognition and theory of mind. Whiskers begin to pull whatever it can from the limited data available to it. Again, this is not our focus at this time, but I left a note for Dr. Hart just in case he wanted to take a look. Okay, wow, okay, and that's it. That's all the stuff here. Wow, that was a lot of stuff. So, kitchen corner. Search upper fridge. What's in here? A lettuce. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. A banana. Grandpa might like that. Prepare food. Stuffed fruit of restaurant and an unappealing item. Okay, so you want me to combine. So I'll put a thing in an unappealing item. Fiberglass insulation. Battery. And then you want me to complete the battery is concealed in the browning banana flesh. What happened to my my other stuff? Like my lettuce. Lettuce. Okay. So it really doesn't matter what I treat. I can literally feed it trash and it doesn't care as long as I don't feed it meat according to those ancient documents. So we'll keep doing it. Let's go to Grandpa. Hey Grandpa. I'm gonna look at him. You examine Grandpa, noting its movements, respirations, and general mood. Grandpa seems sort of sluggish and bored. You get the feeling it may be more content and readily cooperative once fed through and thought a word or two. Attend to communicate? No response. So first of all, let's teach Grandpa. Let's teach him the word hello. Like that's one of the first words you teach, right? Would you like to view the tutorial before you start? You will not be prompted again. Sure. Example. Oh god, complicated. The brief tutorial will go over teaching Grandpa's pronunciation and vocabulation. The vocabulary word you pick will appear in the top left corner. In bottom right corner will be pentagon that is divided up into 8 sections. Section of the pentagon will be highlighted briefly. A notification sound will play, and soon another section will be highlighted. You will control a small round icon and sits above the pentagon by using your mouse. Okay. So I'm going to do the ball is constrained to the limits of the pentagon. The goal is to keep your icon over the highlighted area and move it to the area changes sections around the pentagon. Okay. When you hold left click above the correct highlighted area, the icon will start to brighten along with the stimulate vocal cord and then the current letter. You want me to play Simon Says is what I say. Or you want me to play like just follow the path, follow the thing. It's a clicky game. The icon will start brightening along the simulated vocal cords and the current letter of your word will begin to turn red. Keep highlighting over the highlighted section and adjust your icon as it changes places. Sooner or later, will become fully red. Every letter becomes red. Grandpa will proudly pronounce the word to you and will consider learn. Teach your grandpa these words will accelerate its cognitive development and lead to further breakthroughs in general intelligence. Each word hello? Sure. You approach the small window set and okay. Oh, weird, okay. Hold down the right mouse button if you wish to end the lesson early. Okay, so I'm gonna hold right. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna follow along like this. Okay, so it's constantly the mouse is fighting me. I'm gonna follow along. Right click this. Left click this like this. Alright, Grandpa, I'm gonna need you to come down a little bit. Wow, this is kind of difficult. Wait, am I supposed to hold it? Oh, I am supposed to hold it down. Like this. Yeah, I like that. Okay, never mind. I've been doing it wrong the whole time. So I follow it and then I hold it down in the spot. Okay. So I was doing that wrong. Fighting against it, but I also gotta like hit it in the spot and do that. And then move it around. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Okay, Grandpa. Grandpa, I need you to learn a word. I know English is a little bit of a difficult language, but you can do it. I fully trust you. I fully trust that you have the cognitive capabilities of learning the word hello. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to start with, I'm telling you. But you can get there. I trust you. He's trying to talk real bad. Not really working on him, but he's trying. Come on, darling. You got this. You have like 5 mouths, but... Actually, it's 4 mouths. Deep within Grandpa, strange membrane, phonate confidently. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card and the notes that are written by administration in the past. Hello, part of our vocabulary and vocalization module, A2 conversation basics. General pronunciation comments, sloppy articulation, model comments see below. We already encountered some difficult as Whisker's subjectivity is to so much determined by a diverse and dynamic arrays of influence, in an attempt to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively interjects, and these imitations can go on to structure the basis of identity. Only later in Whisker's growth cycle does it begin to form an identity, or identities, and that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. I must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet oriented in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and modeled together. Because of things of this, we have started with the basic of conversation. Reading, parting, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, number 19, I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human math stimulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth, as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. Step away from the bars and store the module call at the document table. Alright. Gotta go to Grandpa. Should I feed him now? I think it's a good time to feed him. Would you like to view the tutorial before you start? God damn it, there's so many tutorials! The brief tutorial will go over the basic of feeding Grandpa, be instructions of your protecting and sealing it. I'm gonna read this fast. Production of tooth and animal to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed to do the order properly on graph. First, you will need to select an item from the launch box. Click on the launch button in the bottom right corner. The content of the lunch will be displayed. Nice food, bad food. Select an item from the lunch box. Doing so will fill your hand with this item. So that any phone you can put in your hand into the launch mode by clicking the launch mode with full hands. Before Grandpa can be fed, it must be judged by it must choose the food by smell. However, you hand over Grandpa's olfactory bulb. You hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs. If Grandpa is pleased, it will allow you to feed it. Most foods Grandpa will accept. However, getting Grandpa to consume other things requires some culinary deception. When Grandpa is willing to be fed, hover your hand over his food and mouth and click. Grandpa will then consume the food. Good luck on feeding Grandpa. Okay. You approach the small window and set in the gel bars and blah 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 blah. Oh god, your mouth looks like a vagina. Click on Grandma's nostrils. Grandpa is excited about the smell. Click on Grandpa's mouth to feed it. Those cashews. Well, the subject is kidding in this food. Is this his nose? Left of his mouth. Is this its mouth? I don't see anything that could possibly... Oh, there it is. That's the nostril. Grandpa... he ate it. He liked it. This feeling seems to have causing some indigestion. And with sudden lunge, Grandpa empties his stomach onto the floor. The contents pulled together in front of the cage. Huh. 1 second. You step away from the window, set in the bars. Plaintive whine, clearly displaying the lack of sustenance. He dejected locomotes back to his favorite corner. 0 digestible food. 1 other. Well, I wanna feed him more. I just wanna go to the kitchen. I guess I can't do any more. Floor of the basement. Grandpa recently emptied its stomach. Oh, okay. I'm going to explore the basement and try to find my grandpa's throw up somewhere. Didn't I already do this once? Thought I already cleaned this. Or the basement. He threw up. But where is it? He says he threw up. But if he threw up, where is it? And if he threw up, wouldn't it be here? Floor of the basement. Grandpa recently emptied its stomach. Each 2 words. Acceptable foods eaten. Seek out things to be feed Grandpa. Okay, well. Maybe I just check all the trash files from before. I'm not really sure where what I'm supposed to be doing, but let's just feed it more, I guess. It says like, oh, I should probably save my game. Grandpa, I'm here to feed you more. You little funky weirdo, and you and your weird little vagina mouth. Feed us some lettuce. Just sate his hunger, but that is all. Humans of the sterile, artificial smell. Grandpa finds this palatable. I guess I could feed him. His meal appears to have been sufficient. Okay. Go to the basement. Go to the study corner. I mean, yeah, I could do that here, but where would it be? Maybe I can find it later. Let's teach it another word. Teach it the word grandpa. Hey, darling. Want to learn a few words? You learn the word grandpa. Then you want to learn to go grandpa? Man, it takes so much energy to teach this man some words. I just want to teach him some wordage, man. I mean, just wants to learn a few little wordage. Oh, my throat is getting real dry. I wonder what they have to say about this one. You're halfway there? I don't think I am halfway there at all. I'm only on the second week. I mean, it said this game was like an hour and a half, but there's so much reading. I guess it's an hour and a half if you're not reading everything out loud. You learn the fucking word, woman. Grandpa, Grandpa, don't be annoying. There we go. He's almost there. Perfect. Even Grandpa, strange memory. It's phonate confidently. Me when I phonate. You know, I never hear him say it. Grandpa, part of the vocabulary, blah, 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 blah. General pronunciation comments. Usual trouble with articulation. Both thin, raspy, possible under developed larynx. Module comments see below. We have done several sessions that we have called familial relation simulations. I and the researchers sit in the chair opposite of the enclosure. We are wearing the usual mask, and we begin to act out a scene, mostly through improvisation. Then it might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated tries would reveal, although our simulated conversation was purposely vague and unspecific regarding persons and identities, we would only address each other as brother, sister, father, sister, or whatever. It soon became apparent the encoded information and association we unconsciously drawn upon when hearing and speaking these words was being picked up on by Whiskers and its PSI type field of reception interpretation of brain mind event somatic content. My core research is willingness that in simulations where Whisker was given a role as a sister and he as a brother, I was the father, Whiskers began responding to certain prompts with unusual specificity, as well as general patterns. Pattern and timbre of speech that continued with usual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended and we left the enclosure area, William let me know that Whisker was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister. Mapping out exactly what religions and centers of neuroactivity are intercepted by the PSI type field will take extensive neuroimagining that we do not have at this side. Currently experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and full explanations regarding the brain access to desires, and we can begin to infer it can access to certain positions in limbic systems and ventral temporal cortex. You step away from the bars and store the module card on the document. Alright, I fed him. Explore the basement. I did explore the basement. I did explore it. I can look here. There's nothing here. I can look over here. There's nothing. Look, examine. Trash. There's a bulbous grove. Can't do much with it though. Examine this. Something about that painting looks strange. Yeah, we already checked. We already checked. There was documents there. I think about under the weight of rotten refuse. Sorry, slouching. Music a little funky. I'm just gonna finish feeding it. It doesn't look like there's much here. Grandpa, observe, attempt to communicate. I need to feed him. Examine stomach contents. Is that what they meant? By explore. Okay, thanks. Still someone wed. This might help you explore more of the basement. How did I not see that before? Okay, well, now that I have this, I know exactly where to go. The bottom one. You tried the safe lock with the key you found. Ta-dang! Perfect. Who's this pretty lady? A photo of your mother as a young woman. Wow, my mother was a very pretty lady. The recognition of this face kicks off a cascade of emotion and meaning deep within your psyche. This woman likes to fight with my father. Mama. What about this guy? Is that the only photo that matters? Okay, I guess that is the only photo that matters. Oh, did I maybe... Bottom jar. Anything I can interact with? Doesn't look like it, but there's stuff there. Oh, Jesus, Grandpa, you're looking a little funky back there. Should we feed him? Hello, Grandpapa, you and your vagina mouth? I will give him the hunger sedator. As I also call food. That should be everything. Step away from the window, sit in the bars. Grandpa grunts appreciation. Yeah, so we feed him. Should I try talking to him? You examine Grandpa, nothing's moving, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa appears content and ready to cooperate. Should I attempt communication with my papa? Grandpa sees your request. It approaches the bars and begins to unknit its skin. Hello, Grandpa? Grandpa Wario, the inner Grandpa. Though still not the inner Grandpa that we all have in us. Though it's still not fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak with it, if it can respond. Hello, Grandpa? Looking a little ugly. That's about Grandpa's shell. There's a lot to say here. Alright, let's ask about Wish. Wish! Wish is a shitty movie made by the Disney Corporation for its 100th anniversary. With a great deal of effort, Grandpa gruggles fermented thoughts through its ill-informed lips. Mother, will father, new lives out of the air. The dark spiny filament that make up the majority of Grandpa's body begin to oscillate rapidly. The air behind your eyes, I can taste it. Grandpa's shell. With a gurgle deal of effort, Grandpa gurgles fragmented thoughts through his... Yeah, okay. Skin, my body, all human skin around me, give more, grow more to fit. What do you have to say about the biohazard bin? However, it fails to produce more than a wet and frustrated splatter noises. Goodbye. That should be everything. Oh, you know what? I might be able to go here, go to the bulbous grow. And use this on it? Nah, never mind. That doesn't work. What do you want me to do now, I guess? Still can't do anything here. And I have this key. With that, I have a picture of my mother. But what can I do? A picture of my... Go to the study corner. Look over documentation. No educational posters. How about the medical imagining device? Can I put a picture of my mom in here? Such dramatic music for that. I guess I could save. Grandpa recently emptied its stomach. Explore the basement. Oh, end week. I guess I should end week because that appears to be everything I can do. Weekly summary. Food acquire, a bunch of stuff. And then I got a bunch of other stuff. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to new conversation topic to discover Grandpa. I've gained the word language, baby! Okay, that's week 3, baby. Week 3 at Freddy's. Alright, I'm back to being Mr. Therapy. Mrs. Risher approached me the other day in order to remark on Adrian's development. She noted how she was more at ease she appeared when called upon in class. Or when she asked to participate in group exercises, I told her I had seen this change happening as well, and that as much as I would like to take credit for it, it can only guess dimly what might be reshaping her attitude. Probably her grandfather Wario. Mrs. Richards posited that it was perhaps Adrian's family moving into their grandfather's property that caused the change. And apparently it is out in the country, in a wooded area, full of wide open space and far from bustle and noise of the city. The grandfather, Dr. Jacob Hart, had jointly purchased the land with the university he was employed with and began constructing what he was intended to be a satellite campus for a burgeoning psychological anthropology program he had in hand and establishing. That homie bought that land because he wanted the topa. Only one building ever ended up being constructed after Dr. Hart died in a car accident when driving back from the property one hand. The Whiskers got him, man. Whiskers got him. Eerily, at almost the exact same time, a grad student who was assisting Dr. Hart on some sort of project at the property vanished without a trace. The property sat in disguise in these views for years, and it was tied in legal battles between Dr. Hart's next of kin, the university, the vanished grad student's family, and the other student Dr. Hart was working with. Eventually, the case was settled out of court. Only recently did the property fall into the possession of Adrian's mother. Previously, I was not going to relate this whole tragic story to Adrian, who for all I know believes her grandpa to still be living in the basement of his home. Besides, I thought she might already know all of this. Perhaps the elaborate story she was constructing was her own way of escaping the morbid details of a life. Or perhaps lives cut short by the cruel force of fate and the cynical adults who squabble in the aftermath. I determined perhaps the storytelling she was and continues to engage in should not be encouraged by me, at least not in the way I went about it before I made active inquiries into her strange fantasy of a semi-sentient ball of skin. He's more than semi-sentient. Sometimes he goes, and you know, that's a lot for a semi-sentient thing. That's sentience. That's full sentience. I do that. When I saw Adrian, I did not bring up her grandpa or ask questions about his growth. Adrian could not stop talking about it, however. I had no choice but to weather her bizarre and enthusiastic confusion about her new best friend. Hey, little weird woman. Adrian, maybe we can talk about something else. I'm not sure I'm following you exactly. He's gotten so big. He's gotten so big. He has so many whiskers that came out, and I can see them move around when I think about him. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm so happy Grandpa is back. He's so much cooler than Mom and Dad. He's so much cooler. Once again, and for what it's worth, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Adrian once again told me about growing her grandpa. That's the name of the video game. Anything here? That's still gone. Should I check out the bulbous grove? The pulse in a sack in the corner of the basement. Still there? Flashbang. Alright, week number 3, baby. See what we can find out about my beautiful grandpa and his little blobness. His little acts of blobness. I'll clean. The space will not be dirty for another day. I love the sound of trash, baby. Cabinet. Examine. Punching under the weight. cabinet. Same as usual. The wild entropy of trash has led me. I'm a rat. I eat garbage. I'm a rat. Nothing here, huh? I mean, it wouldn't make sense for something to just suddenly be here, but I don't know, man. The wild entropy of trash might have led something that was previously undiscoverable to be discovered again. I'm just cleaning for the sake of cleaning now. Still the same as usual, huh? Trash pile. Painting still the same painting? Yeah. Yeah, it is. There's something. I knew trash wouldn't fail me. Trash and I are like this, you know? We're one and the same. Oh, what's this? A potato. Oh, okay. The word life. Nice and tidy. Can I get achievement for being a nice, good cleaner? Trash pile. Bulbous grove here too. Another pulsating sad growth in the corner of the basement. I want to open it. I need to get a knife somewhere. I need to get my grandpa to barf out a knife so I can check inside the bulbs. You never know what you're gonna find inside the bulb. Bulb on bulb action. Indecision. Yeah. There's nothing over here, so I guess that's all that. To my grandpa! Let's find out what he has to say! Let me go to the kitchen real quick. Let me look at these. Oh, there's a parrot that wasn't here before for some reason. Maybe the parents are coming down here and storing stuff. Let's do some fiberglass and put it in a potato. So I can get that homie to do a little all over the thing, you know? Go to the study corner. I don't have any new documents, I don't think, so. Let's just look inside here. Try to get some new stuff. For my grandpapa. My little grandpapa. None of this interactable. Wow, really? Nothing to interact with anywhere. What am I supposed to learn about my grandpapa? All clean. Oh, this one is... Was it clean last time? Education posters. Gone. Documents still the same. And then the medical device, in which we did not get any new. Let me save the game real quick. And then just do a little chicky talking to grandpa. Kitchen corner. Study corner. Let's go to grandpa. Hello, grandpa. You're looking quite the same, honestly. Just observe a little bit. You examine grandpa, noting its movements, expiration, and general mood. Grandpa's gums are bleeding with slightly... I mean, it's okay, grandpa. My gums bleed all the time. When you get to that age, you know, your teeth start going down the drain, and its skin seems overly dry. Oh boy, baby, do I have a... do I have a bunch of recommendations for skincare. It may need a food packed with vitamin C. A kiwi fruit would be an excellent remedy. A kiwi fruit, okay. Don't I have one of those? I mean, I can just feed him. This was yesterday's stamina content. Let's feed him here. Supposed to be blah, 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 blah. Looking a little different, or you still got your classic vagina mouth? So I need some vitamin C. I don't really have anything like that, but I can give it some potato. Take the unappealing item in the food. So now I can give it a little, and now it's gonna do a little throw up. Alright, sorry grandpa, I didn't make to make you throw up. I'll feed you a little more later. I won. Oh, hey, Grandpa. To check your stomach contents. Nice. I knew I would get this eventually. So having this give me the ability to open the pulsating sacs. My sisters, it's not possible to take a look inside. Oh, what is inside? You peer into the thing. In the oily cavity, a powerful smell of rot arises. Many small increte being lay motionless and dead. However, you just barely hear the near silent slithering or something. Or maybe it's just your imagination. Oh god, there's trash in the rot? There's trash in the pulsating sac? It's teeth. It looks like teeth. I mean, like fucked up teeth, but teeth nonetheless. Anything good in here? You all got any documents inside these pulsating sacs? Oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. An anthropoid remnant, a self-sufficient animal formed knit together from years of ambient thoughts left to crawl around the basement. Grandpa may enjoy the flesh. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to feed him flesh. Little friends. No meat. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to give him meat. Alright, let's clean up the junk again. So gross. The gross sound. That looks like a guy back there. That's an eyeball right there. That's his mouth. I don't know if anybody else sees that. I am a little poco loco. Fully decked out, baby. Trash, 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 trash. That's the anthropoid remnant, a self-sufficient formed together from years of ambient thought. Grandpa may enjoy giving it a little. Should I feed him these? I really don't think I should. Let me save my game again. I can go to my kitchen corner. Let's talk to Grandpa. Let's teach him some words. Let's teach him about life. You know, the words you need to learn are hello, so you are able to greet people. Your identity for him being Grandpa, for me being Mexican. And and you got to teach him life, you know, so he knows the concept of what it is to be what he is, which is alive. These are the important words, baby. I'm gargitating its larynx, it's like vocal cords here, in order to try to get it to learn cheeky little words. Come on, darling, learn your little cheeky words. Come on, you little vagina mouth. Do you think you can teach a vagina to say words? Like, if you if you're able to, okay, exchange frame rates for nature, never knowing. If you can use, if you are somehow able to control the insides of your pussy, your vagina, and you're able to like vibrate them in a certain like frequency to create noise, and then like move them around, you think you'd be able to speak? You know that movie about the vagina with teeth? Why isn't there a movie about a vagina that can speak? I wouldn't watch that. No, that doesn't sound good either. Having completed the lesson, let me look and see what they have to say. Well, you can queef. If you can do vagina farts, you can manipulate the vagina farts in order to speak. Life part of the vocabulary and vocalization module P29 concept formation. General pronunciation comments none. Module comments see below. At week 3 of growth number 24, whiskers appear to recall some information from previous growth cycles. We cannot be sure that this was really the case. For all we know, we interpret it as is recollecting this information. Was really drawing semantic context from one of our recollections of it and redeploying it without rationality or contextualization. For the sake of our safety and for the sake of scientific inquiry, we're attempting to draw out from Whisker whether it somehow retained knowledge from previous cycles in the morpholactic nucleus. We did not think it was possible. The nucleus, through complex and incredible in its regenerative ability, was capable of this, and that this nerve network that grew from it made up the base of Whisker's mind. And so we are now attempting to ask Whiskers as best as we can if it has ever died or what it might remember if it did. Okay. So homie can speak. One sec. I need some water. Whatchamacallit? So homie has homie is like a collection of stem cells and hair that creates life through the recognition of psychic abilities. So if you think about something, it starts to create that life. But they used to think that they would have to teach you things anew every time. But it gains certain abilities, like it becomes better at saying words every time that it creates a new cycle, a new form. And it seems to maybe be remembering things that it did in previous lives. Trying to perfect itself. Go to study corner, go to kitchen corner. Go to grandpa. We teach you the word indecision, which is a weird word to teach. You gotta teach it about life because like it's really important to know like what you are, that you know about the magic of being a sentient being and a life being. But after it knows what it is, a grandpa, after it knows how to greet someone, and then after it knows the concept of life, the most important thing for it to learn is indecision. Because what do people do more than anything? They make mistakes, They make mistakes. And they're gonna make bad decisions. And they're sometimes gonna be indecisive about those bad decisions, We know that life is plagued by those. And because of that, it makes sense that you would want to teach it to be indecisive or to know that indecision is a thing. So it has the capability to make his own decisions, and grow as a grandpa, like it really do be like that these days. This minigame is kind of annoying. Like, it's fun in theory, but I kind of wish it was just like the light flash and I had to move over and click it real fast. There's a certain level of tedium here that isn't like really all that fun. At least a simple minigame of clicky clicky might actually be fun to do, and you'll be able to like make it harder by making it go faster and faster. But this feels a little pointless. I mean, I kind of get that it's trying to simulate the idea that you're like teaching this being how to say a word, and because it's like a monstrous creature, it would be difficult to try to force it to. But whatchamacallit? I don't know, it doesn't feel too fun. But at least it doesn't take that long. Oh wow, I totally heard him say that. He totally said indecision. Indecision, part of the vocabulary, theory of mind, general pronunciation, comments, articulation problems, possible trouble with diphthongs, module comments, see below. We're introducing the latest group of whiskers to be more subtle social cues and testing its ability to judge mental states of participants in conversations. The semantic content that flows to whiskers via its PSI field is still becoming muddled and slipped without distinction into conversation. Though our intention of instilling it in a solid theory of mind will perhaps make it begin to understand that we do not know what it knows or know what we are without our control sending it to it. One would think a theory of mind seems to develop as much of its maturing process. In order to haunt sapient being, it must be able to deceive them. In order to deceive it, it must be able to make certain metacognitive judgments. For example, if the deception appears to be working, or how one ought to be deceived. We may never see it develop a theory of mind anytime soon, as Dr. Hart has disallowed a cycle of whiskers growth to live into the beginning of maturity. Okay. So they're trying to teach it to be, I mean, indecisive is like an umbrella word to try to like simulate that they're trying to teach it, well, to try to tell us that they're trying to teach it that because it learns most of its things by using psychology, that sometimes people are indecisive, people are stupid, people don't know what they really mean, so it doesn't get confused anymore if it understands that people do that and doesn't take things at face value like that. Anyhow, I'm gonna feed you, Grandpa. Did I feed it? No meat. It says no meat. No meat. Animals near it. I mean, I have animals near it currently. How many times do I have to... How many times do I have to feed it? I have to feed it 3 times, I see. Feed it to the Grandusi. Oh, that's a really gross thing to say, baby. Not the Grandpa Uzi. I feel like at some point it's gonna force me to. But at least for now, I have enough food to not feed the animals. But it really does look like a Bajin, doesn't it? I mean, sometimes I'm indifferent to the food I'm eating, and then I still eat it. These appeals to have been sufficient. Click on Grandpa's nostrils, left its mouth with a handful of food. If Grandpa is enticed by the smell, click on Grandpa's mouth to feed it. Click on Grandpa's mouth. Okay. We did it. Okay, I have feeding it, and I have done all the stuff. So now I'm gonna attempt communication with Grandpa. Hello, Grandpa. Attempt to communicate. Oh, I can't communicate with it. I thought you words. This time, nothing is movement, inspiration, general move. Grandpa's gums are bleeding slightly. Kiwi food would be an excellent remedy. Guess I can't do it. Maybe I should have feeded monster. But I'm gonna try to avoid that for now because, I mean, the ancient people were telling me no meat, so I'm not gonna give it meat. So let's end the week. I got all this stuff. Week number 4 out of maybe 5 or 6. Who knows? We'll see. Time I have spent compiling an evaluation on Adrienne is almost up, and I still can't say what to make of her changes in mood. It is of course the case that children of Adrienne's age are nowhere near finished learning and growing. I may have simply be happy that Adrienne was able to improve her attitude. However, something in the odd and occasionally grotesque stories she continues to bring up may still strike me as meaningful. And also the fact that she looks like a 2D JPEG. How was your week been, Adrienne? Grandpa is almost ready. He's almost finished. Well, sort of. He's almost as big as his shell now. He has a face, and he can talk pretty well, and almost has legs. I see. As before, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Once again, Adrienne told me about growing her grandpa. Shut up. She went down there. She looked at this vent. That's a vent, she said. And then she looked to the left. Bulbous thing. She looked inside of it. There was, however, there was trash in there. She cleaned up the trees. That's what she said. She went, I went into it, and then I cleaned up the teeth, and they were It was gross and disgusting, and it looked like a pulsating like organ seeping out. It was super fucking sick. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of disgusting. Why do you even know those words? Is that everything? No, it isn't. And then she examined. It was trash. She looked at the trash pile. That's what she said. She said he started picking up trash because the wild entropy of trash has led her to believe that there might always be new things behind the trash that appears. And I said, wow, those are really big words for you, little lady. And then she said, it's because my grandpa taught me them. And I was like, yeah, that's a fucked up thing to say. Oh, there's a bar of soap. This isn't really good food. Grandpa might eat it, however. Okay. A kiwi! It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. He's gonna feel good. Nothing else in here, right? Then she looked to the right, explore some cabinets, as she does. What could be in these cabinets? Also, the most fantastical nature of her story isn't the fact that she's growing a demon in her basement. It's the fact that trash just magically appears in her basement every week. Like, who's leaving that trash? And then she finds the word for meaning. That's a cheeky little face. Nothing else in here, huh? Bottom drawer. This one doesn't have anything as usual. There's a bulbous grower here now. I didn't realize there was one in here. I'm gonna have to find another animal. Am I gonna be able to feed it enough? I have to feed it. And then she said, I found a disgusting bulbous growth on the ground, which is what I call them. And then I went, wow, that's a mighty big word for you, baby. There you are. A self-sufficient animal, crawl around the basement, Grandpa may enjoy the flesh. Don't we all? Don't we all enjoy the flesh? Might as well clean them, right? It only seems like there's a anthropomorphic being in... whatchamacallit? Like when you open them for the first time. Doesn't seem like they respawn. But the trash piles, those are infinite, baby. Oh wow, 2 things. This. A mushroom! A shroomy shroom! I hate those, I think they're so gross. And the word symbol, which is important because symbolism, you know? Oh! That's just the usual thing. Alright, that should be everything here. Let's go meet our grandpa. Go to the study corner. Look over documents. I'm good for those. Here go beepy. No more educational posters. At least those don't respawn. The wild entropy of trash is forever, but posters are limited. Grandpa, you're such a slob. Stop making a mess. Grandpa, you're so disgusting. God damn it. I have to come and clean up every week. What's the point of being able to move the trash can around? Nothing in here, right? There isn't. The one I just did. Yeah. I'll clean. Yeah, that's fine. This device, same as usual. Fine. How about the kitchen corner? There's the lower fridge. I hope they take out oh yeah, the fridges. Sometimes there's stuff in here, like a jackfruit. And an apple. I, however, need to give it a thing it shouldn't eat so it can spit out some food. And then give me the good stuff. Let's do a save too. Grandpa, how you looking? Looking good, I hope. Oh, Grandpa, look at that. You got a hand. Let's observe. Look at that. It has feet. It's crossing its leg. That's what it looks like. And it got a little hand. You examine Grandpa, nothing its movement, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa seems fatigued and also anemic. Some of its spines appear brittle. Perhaps it would be more cooperative if a iron-rich meal like a meat. No, you're not supposed to do that. No meat. The ancients told us that. Let's feed it. Well, it still has a vagina. Grandpa's still not fully a man, I see. Well, not that you need the other thing to be a man, but it was a joke. Not a good one, though. Concealed soap. I'm gonna try not to feed it. Let's do a kiwi. Hey, if it lets me not feed it. The animals, then I'm fine with it. Representing slides back to its corner. 3 digestible ones. Yeah, you can avoid feeding him the meat. The ancients told me not to, so you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and not. Oh, Jesus Christ, Grandpa. Grandpa seems fatigued and almost anemic. I'm sorry, I won't. Finally, an older model flashlight still functioning. Might help explore more of the basement. Cha-chang! Finally. I knew we would get a flashlight. And finally explore this side. Nice. Waste bin. Oh! 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 5. That's what it was, right? It's the... It was 3, 2... Maybe I messed it up. 3, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, I did. Nice. I knew that combination was going to be important. The lid unlocks, and it was an effort to move the heavy lid of the bin. Who's this? A photo of your father as a young man. My father was a handsome looking man, I gotta say. Me too, man. Me too. I also looked like that when I was a young man. Yeah. Nothing else in here? Doesn't look like it. Oh, here's the symbol. Collection of magic symbols. Yeah. Dispose of the suppression of the heating being. A classic of alchemy. Alchemy, huh? Let's read it now. On the 3 ventures of the tree put in dealing with the devil, seen or unseen. 3 splendors and terrors of God's creations inhibit the world of both the seen and unseen. Just as one will not grapple with a lion lest they be full, one will not approach a being of mind or either without foreknowledge. Therefore, there are beings with no form hidden between towering columns of air and only appearing but the sleeping into the heart of mind of evil and unclean man. But still are there more beings which straddle the realm between the seen and unseen creatures, feeling unto thee the air to see the heart and mind of man. It is only by God's grace and his angels and servants crushing these beings on their heel and magician might compel them to the magician's will and ritual granted to us by God, or else the devils, seen or unseen, will devour them, that being their nature. On the nourishing of devils of a particular type, certain devils of a particular nature are nourished by the elements of fire. Am I eating a big Jimmy? Sleemy? I wish I had a Sleemy Jimmy. Elements of fire, and others by attentions of prayer given by their idols, still others by strangers and more obscure means by gods Grace, the requirement of nourishing a devil as part of a contract only requires a token of these givings. That is a symbol. If a devil hungers after flesh and will strip a man to his bones and its devouring, the devil's hunger and nature, which thirst of flesh, can be held in abeyance in the ritual act of giving blood in only a few drops. However, the contract must be completed in full, or for it, the magician's earth does not provide in the devil instructions and guidance. The devil once object to do not harm upon the magician and will return its devouring nature. Okay, so this guy's a demon, and we have to do the contract in order to do it. It requires flesh, which we might be able to give him by uh by giving him blood, or I guess feeding him the meat, which I've been so far avoiding because the ancients told me not to, as I wrote down. Teaches them more. Jesus Christ, Grandpa, you're looking mighty cool. Kinda badass, dude. You look like the... He just waved at me. You look like that one being from that one Courage the Cowardly Dog episode where they open the door and there's that like creepy like half CGI creature in the background. No, it's not CGI. It's like a weird style of animation. Maybe it is CGI. Who knows? And then it like looks there and it like blows in the wind and it's really scary. Let's teach you the word for meaning. What else do you need then to know the meaning of things? Here comes his vagina mouth. What if humans, would it be biologically possible to have a mouth that's like vagina shaped, like this, you know, the other way around, and still be able to speak? Would you still be able to like form out syllables and words and stuff if your mouth was vagina shaped? It's King Ramses? What do you mean it's King Ramses? Oh, is that the guy from Curse the Cowardly Dog? Is that what you're talking about? Well, that didn't sound like meaning at all. Meaning, part of the vocabulary, general pronunciation, comments none. Module comments see below. We further delve into the abstraction of whiskers, partially or perhaps for the most part, for the purpose of determining the origin of its recollection that precedes death. Dr. Hart has begun to theorize that in the process of death, the structure of whiskers is compressed back into the morpholactic nucleus, and then later, upon re-establishing the nerve netting that is laid through its spines, is slowly reassembled and deployed as needed. I am still in the process. I do not think that in that case, for I can plainly see that for growth cycles in which whiskers is not receiving our pronunciation and vocabulary, that its capacity general for comprehending its environment is greatly diminished. And in the simulated conversations we carry on, whiskers struggles greatly or else does not participate. In any case, we will press on with our lessons and heed Dr. Hart's cautions regarding terminating the growth cycle before whiskers' allotted growth time passes, or if it appears to be becoming just a little too competent at appearing human. Okay. I will now teach you second word, Mr. Grandpa. So they're trying to find out if Grandpa does keep its recollection throughout its many cycles, its many lives. But some things seem to appear like it does, but when they try not to teach it vocabulary, it becomes really bad at saying things. It becomes worse off. So that makes them think that it's not keeping, you know, its vocabulary. Symbol. Maybe teaching it the word symbol will finally lead me to be able to give him those symbols I've been collecting this whole time. Come on. You're struggling, man. You're struggling. This is not your word, Grandpa. Wow, this is difficult. Why is this one so difficult? There we go. That works. Oh, thank you. Nice. Okay, now I understand how to do this. It took me a while. I'm just supposed to hold it down. I'm not really supposed to fight it. But it really feels like I'm supposed to fight it. There we go. Pretty good. Pretty good. You're getting better, Grandpa. You're getting better. Meaning, part of vocabulary, regulation module, blah, blah, blah. Metacognition, higher thought, general pronunciation, comment, there is nothing, module maintenance. There appears to be nothing written here. If there was, it was thoroughly erased. Okay. Explore the basement. I've done enough exploring for the week. I had done my daily task. And I've explored as best as possible, so I'm ending the week. That leads us to week numero 5 of growing my grandpa. He should be so close to growth. I still haven't fed him any meat, because the ancients, they told me not to. The previous owners of the whiskers told me not to. So I'm gonna not do that. You finished gaming for the day? How fun. Were you playing, what were you playing? I forgot what you were saying. Oh, is she not here today? Who could that be? Come in. Ah, Adrienne, good to see you. Are you a little early? No matter. I suppose I have some time now. You were playing Lethal Company. I was right about that, huh? I mean, but... how have you been? How is your grandpa doing? That's why I wanted to talk to you. Something happened. Oh, what happened? Nothing bad, I hope. Nothing bad. I just think maybe even good. Well, I'll tell you about it. Well, last night something woke me up. There was this noise at first. It was like it came from the walls. I could hear it from my bedroom. But there was something else. Nothing calling. I could hear it just barely. I was afraid of somehow Grandpa hurt himself. I had to go find out. And I'm back. I see. The Grandpa has vented. Grandpa has officially vented. I went downstairs in the vent. The place where I first found Grandpa, or what I grew him with. It was open. Do you remember how I told you about the vent in the ceiling? Behind the bars? I was talking, he had climbed up behind it. Yeah, I assumed you were playing Lethal Company because I kept seeing T start up the game. He had gotten so big, he would have done that. Maybe he had gotten trapped somehow in the vent. I want to go see. I can't go left or right. I have to check the vent. Oh, you want me to go in? You want me to vent? Oh, I'm venting, baby. He had diarrhea accident? Which one had diarrhea accident? I got inside, and I heard the calling again more clearly this time. Grandpa was definitely in the vent somewhere. Grandpa was definitely venting, which was really sus. It was really, really sus. I could feel him hearing my thoughts. I got the weird feeling. I sensed in the air. I had to go forward. Oh, baby, I'm venting. I hope I find no Music Man in here. As I moved in closer... It was Mushu, that piece of shit. How long is he gonna be there? That man has been there for a long time. Sao is, fostering a kitty. Not really fostering, just taking care of a cat for a friend. And it's been like 2 weeks or so? Like, how long is that cat gonna be there? As I moved in closer, the vent had stuff in it. He's leaving tomorrow. Oh, what a perfect time for him to have diarrhea poopy. The kind of slimy, hairy stuff Grandpa would leave around a lot. He was definitely close. Grandpa! Something was there at the end. But it wasn't Grandpa. It looked maybe like he had made it thaw. Was it Grandma poopy? It was slumped in the corner. It had a weird mouth and it had lungs on the outside and drew it in just enough air to call out. And then it just stopped. Stopped breathing. Grandpa looking sick, not gonna lie. This ain't Grandpa. And then something was hanging over me. Oh, Jesus, jump scare moment. Grandpa. Oh, okay, little girl. And then I woke up in my bed. In your bed, a dream. It seemed like it was just quite a dreadful dream. Are you alright, by the way? Your face is twitching. Yeah, it looks a little different than usual. Like you're about to have a violent sneeze. Fine. It's just Grandpa. See, it took me a little while to figure out, but Grandpa's inside you. Later, when I was brushing my teeth, I saw one of Grandpa's whiskers poking just out of the space under my eye. And I started to remember how in the vent he had hid inside of me. It was so fast, I could barely remember, but soon I started to feel him sliding around in my head. Behind my forehead, and behind my eyes and nose. It doesn't hurt at all. It just got a ticklish. I'm glad I can be with him. Oh, I can feel him now. I think he wants to meet you. Part of him is moving down my arm. Oh. I'm starting to get worried, Adrian. You really should not be twitching like this. I should walk you to the nurse's office. Come on, let's go. You really should meet him, though. I've told you so much about him here. What are you doing, Adrian? You're starting to look very ill. Let's just wait. Just stay a little. He's gathering. He's gathering. Waiting on my fingertips. Damn. You got a symbiote inside him. Why do you look like that? You don't have to be afraid. Look. Loading screen. That's new. What are we loading? Oh. There are two endings in Grandma. You got the failure of fulfillment ending. Development of my Grandpa was funded by patron support, exclusive to the first foremost. Infinite thanks to them. You're interested in becoming a supporter and having a future to access the game. Peace. Cute ball. So there are two endings it sent. So I assume not the good ending. The other ending is if you feed him meat. I didn't feed him meat, okay? I didn't want him to have meat. Okay, but he ended up getting meat one way or another, I guess. Here's all these patrons. Who is loose change and it was consequences and who is Yams? Jin, do you know? This is a lot of patrons for someone. A hot man and my real dad. This is a lot of patrons for someone who only seems to have one game on Steam. Yams? Yeah, Yams. Gotta feed homie to me so he can grow. I'm just gonna look up the other ending. To see what that's about. But wow, Benny Coyote. Most are on Itch.io. There's a lot of these are a lot of like I've never heard of Yams before, but this is a lot of Patriots. Usually like small developers like this do not have this many things. They made the Well and Water Womb World. Are they known only for their games, or are they known for something else? Because this is a lot of I'd be surprised if they weren't known by something else because of how many goddamn patrons they have. Elements of body horror and whatever. The game is best experience with a basic keyword. Oh, interesting. Let me look up the other ending. I think ignore the fact that I looked up the word tulpa earlier. What growing grandpa? No, not that. Not that. Not have my own grandpa. Growing my grandpa. Yams. They got patience after Big Tours played because I didn't know this game was on Steam. Maybe. I'm surprised because like oats. No delivery. Patreon. There we go. Mr. Oats over here has gotten a lot of like YouTube coverage from what I've seen because I've looked up their games before. I mean, they've gotten Benny to play him and stuff, but who knows? They only have 45 patrons, which isn't a lot, but Yap seem to have a lot. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe they got patrons as their big tours play them. Yeah, maybe. Here's the patron. Yeah, 518 members. Jams had Markiplier played it. Oh, I see. That's interesting. Yeah, because 500 is quite a lot. 900, this person lives off of this, Poor Oats, man. I really like Oats games a lot, and I comment on a lot of their posts because I do patron them. And I mean, $74 a month, nothing to scoff at, but their pixel art is great, and they put a lot of effort into their projects. It's kind of sad that they only have $74 a month, 45. And Yams, I think, and then $1,000 is nothing to scoff at, man. You could maybe live off that if you want to live on poverty. But let me look up the other ending. YouTube. What's the name of the game? Growing my grandpa. Endings. I'll just look up endings. From Fatfinger here. Here's Markiplier. A beautiful image, by the way. Why? Grandma, why? I couldn't help myself. Bad end. Growing my grandpa. I guess, okay. I guess that makes sense. I guess all you really need to become an extremely successful indie developer is to have a bunch of big YouTubers play your game. I want to see more about you. Who are you and how did you get into my computer? Hello, my name is James Hallett, aka Yams, or Yames, and I make creepy computer games. I am best known for What in the World, Discover My Body, and Grow My Grandpa. The large game I'm currently making is called Discover Our Bodies. That's a weird name for a game, but I squeeze in time to make smaller games too. What do you do? I do it all. I do the music, I do the visuals, I do the coding. Well, what'd you get up for signing up? Okay. Well, first look at everything I'm working on, as well as you will give feedback on it. You will get exclusive access to make many of my projects after our game's release impression. Okay. It seems like they're just a indie game developer. The first one Mark played. That's probably why. Discover My Body. Interesting. I guess all you really need is, one big ass YouTuber to play your indie horror game, and then other ones will start playing it if it hits, and most of them do, because when you get someone that big to do it. I'm sorry, Beanie Vine says, but I guess you're the only popular big YouTuber who did Oats, and you did not have the effect to get Oats to get a bunch of subscribers. They get 74. I don't mean to be rude. They get $74 a month, and like 10 of those are mine. Let's go, Oats! Fuck it up! I'm excited to play your stuff. I always am. You're my favorite indie game developer. From My Grandpa by Yams, full commentary. Well, this is the one I got. Is this guy's opening ending? I want to look. I want to see the other ending. Setting bar horror game. It definitely had a cool aesthetic. For My Grandpa and ending. Man, it doesn't look like there's any without commentary, and I don't really want to watch just someone's random video here. Maybe I look up no commentary on it. Failure of fulfillment, definitive playthrough, both endings. Here we go. Thank you, Modern Horror Gaming. Oh, you have that one in the physician section? Thanks. I guess I will be playing one of their other games. Let's see if we can reach the ending. Which ending? Oh, Jesus Christ. I wonder how far. Because the only thing I didn't do is I didn't feed him. Wow, there's quite a few achievements here. Collect all foods. Collect every document. Oh, wow, I didn't collect every document. The child of the mother parents. Get the fulfilled contract ending. Huh. It said there were only 2 endings. Yeah, it seems like I did miss stuff though. Oh god, not its vagina mouth. Okay, so this is where it starts today. This is where you get the scissors for the first time. So this guy went in here and fed him the first anthropod, and that's which I didn't feed him because you know they told me not to. But I guess you get the cooler shit if you feed him. This meal is particularly weird to see. If you're offering flesh, there's something within Grandpa from within the folds of his body. A wiry probiosis like bandages begin to emerge. It develops more fully if you give him meat. Maybe worth taking a look after the feeding knowledge you have recently acquired when you access new conversation topics to discuss. Proboscis. I don't really know what that means. So what does he look like? I want to see what he looks like. Salmon probiosis. Wow, you get a whole new different thing. You motion the grandpa to approach and point to thin probiosis. Grandpa slightly ambles closer to the bars and fully extends it toward you. Hello? A minuscule needle extends from its tip. There appears to be one more thing you must give, if only for the sake of propriety. Oh, the blood contract. Yes, 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 yes. From the readings that I did, Grandpa has appreciated your blood offering. It will receive a symbol because it's a demon, quote unquote. And I guess if you conduct a blood sacrifice, you're able to give it symbols or totem from you now, although only one per offering. Interesting. Okay. So I did miss out. I don't know. I read the stuff, so I tried to follow the stuff that because I was actually trying to go out of my way to read the stuff. But I guess maybe this is one of those games that I do feel like it's a little. I don't know. It seems like I missed out on a lot of cool stuff, and it doesn't seem like I really necessarily got anything cool for uh for doing the game in a way that it's for like playing the game in a little bit of a try-hard fashion, I guess. I was reading every document I was seeing, and I picked up from those, you know, the meat stuff, like you're not supposed to feed it meat. And I didn't feed it meat because I thought that might lead to something interesting, but I actually kind of seem to have gotten punished for that. I missed out on cool stuff because of it, you know? Which I feel is a little frustrating, but whatever. Grandpa recently emptied his stomach. General mood. He's still saying the stuff about the kiwi. What was this? Sir, if you examine Grandma Moon's mood, inspiration, general mood, he's content and ready to cooperate. Okay, so if you feed him food, you're able to communicate with him the second time, which I missed. And then make the best grandma. The inner grandpa, though still not fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak with it. Ask about wish. Grandpa still struggles somewhat to speak due to its wow, grandpa looking pretty sick. He gaining Wario-esque abilities. To his undeveloped tongue, mouth, and jaw, however, it manages to rasp out an answer. Hunger is not enough. On the walls of the cave, the Auroch can be hunger transport. The silence will feel by pain. Your grandpa doesn't have the right words right now. I can only say I love you. Love is not enough, though. Desire is not enough. Project it outwards. Make it true to yourself. If only in symbol, then it will be enough. For me and for you. Grandpa still struggles somewhat to speak due to his... Yeah. Something to grow in. My skin is not the doll's skin. My skin is not like your skin either. I can still feel your eyes on me inside my shell. I have many eyes to see, but I don't need them as much as I need your eyes from which I can what? Which I can understand, from which I can understand as seeing me. There is a cycle of attention. You give me myself, but I am still not that. Slowly, I form my human shape, and you see me more as human, and I become. Damn it. I become that. Mm. Yeah, but what's your end goal, darling? What's your end goal? Biohazard bin. I know what's in there. Grandpa still struggles to speak. Blah, 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 blah. They kept putting me in a box, sleeping, and then set a light, and then in a box in the corner in the darkness. That's where they cooked you, where they got rid of you. Most of you couldn't read then. The scribe came and wrote, and everyone said they wrote on strips of bark with thin reeds. No, it was not that. It was a paper posted somewhere. It had words to open the box. I knew, I wrote them down. I was half dead in the box. The part of me that dies was put there for a long time. That part of me and other things they grew in, a refuse pile, papers they discarded. Ask about languages. Grandpa still struggles somewhat. Yeah, okay, we get it, darling. Grandpa is old. My lives were easier before I made myself to speak and before you made clothes to work and rule to obey. Your grandpa remembers I have learned much in many lives and deaths. Keep speaking with me and I love talking with you and learning from you, and it helps your grandpa so much. My grandpapa! Man, I could have made a cool grandpa. And I will be everything you would like me to be. Ask about little friends. The ones that I fed you? The little ones, they grew like seeds off my skin. The worms fall off my body. Though falling off of me, dreams put there by others, when I was under the ground, I made only very few. Shepherds walked through their graves, and I saw them lusting for their wives, and my skin made their loving faces. I called them out in the darkness with their loud voices. One by one, I took their shapes and their skin and blood. That was a time ago. Before stone buildings, before the order of angels and words and symbols. There is a lot of lore here. I'm sorry, Grandpa is thinking, but there's a little left over from others too. I'm still so hungry for flesh. Part of me is. I would even eat one of them that fell off of me. Yeah, I fed ya. Well, he fed you, I guess. I can't help it. They grow off of me. They fall off and grow in the dark. Grow around me. Grandpa's proboscis. Yes, that is a part like a tongue. I was lost in the mountains and so thirsty. I was walking uphill and found a lamb and drank from it. With my tongue, I fell asleep for a long time. I woke up as a half-formed child. I had died before. My grieving mother had remade me. We have made contact, and she completed it. I did not remember more. Made a contract. I meant. Goodbye. Okay. Got the kitchen. Okay. Kind of seems to be playing the game that you're supposed to be playing. And you get the other remnants, you feed it. And here he comes. What does he look like now? He still looks kind of fucked up. Oh, he was checking to see if they said anything. It doesn't look like it, right? Oh, about language, I guess. Grandpa is old. My lives were easier before I made myself to speak and before you made clothes to wear and rules to obey. Your grandpa remembers. I have learned much in many and many lives and deaths. Keep speaking with me. I love talking with you and learning from you, and it helps your grandpa so much. Soon I will be everything you would like me to be. Okay. How are you still feeding this man? Feed him the lettuce. That's week 4. You talk to them. I assume this goes exactly the same. Yeah, you get all the stuff that I got. What's he doing first? He's teaching Grandpa the word for meaning, which I did. And then he reads the stuff. He reads the stuff. Gonna get the flashlight. You doing this again? He doesn't fully. Okay. Feed us some soap. He has that. He can go over here. He can type. He can go to the bookshelf. He can pick up that thing and some symbols. Oh, Grandpa looking pretty badass, I gotta say. And now he's gonna talk to Grandpa. Grandpa has glasses. Will he say different things about every single one of these things now? Grandpa look like he's developing. Oh my god, Grandpa. Grandpa, you're looking fighting good. Grandpa, you're developing two Italian suits. Grandpa loudly clears his throat before gently remaining a lucid, well-projected voice. Hello, I'm Grandpa. Are you asking me about your wish? When you wished for me to come back, that's when I knew I would. Your desperation was strong, and your wish for your parents, well, if you give me what I want, I'll give you what you want. Okay. You know I love you. I am for you, whatever you want, and I love you as much as you love me. But desperation and love is not enough. People deep down know they can't get what they wish for without some transformation. Also, look at me. I am developing glasses. There is something that sits at the root of everyone's soul that understands the separations between them and eternity. You may desire something, but you know you will not get it without some movement in your part. So it's not enough to just wish. Wish you know you will not work. You must wish and a little more to transform your intention to something that might fall fructily or for desire to become reality. Grandpa really clears his loan. Oh, well, you have something. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? I'm just going to read this real fast. Well, you see, I like something to grow in, something shaping like a person. It must help with something surrounding when I don't have a skin. My whiskers do the growing. My whiskers just, the hairy little things. And part of it, and it has needs of me. However, my whiskers are from what you heard you wishing for me back to whack, and so they want to work in the shell you provided. The shit also helps you envision me as what you desire. You have such a nice imagination. If you wanted my shell, you'd have my whiskers and explode the knitted together in my face. They might be interpreting feedback loops by reading your desires. And then actions upon the desires I have read, and then once again reading your reaction. We wouldn't want that interfered with. The material to doll you put me down is good fit. It is not the most comfortable, but it was quite flexible, and thankfully my shell was able to adjust nicely to my growth. Okay. He likes it. Alex clears his throat. Oh, you're asking about the medical waste bin. I believe it's locked up. I heard them punching in the code many times as they place part of the burned up playing stuff into the bin. I know, Grandpa looking pretty good. They often forget what the code was and had to go check the wall where they were always tapping up sheets upon sheets of information. So much so that the newspaper would cover the old. What do you think you would find in there? Well, perhaps something they did throw trash inside from time to time. Bits of paper and so forth. I remember seeing a man who looked quite like me, his daughter, and I'd given him a photo of her new boyfriend. that did not look like a boyfriend. He threw it into the bin in disgust and joked with one of his colleagues. May still be in there for all I know. Grandpa loudly clears his throat, before gently responding in a lucid what projector. Oh, you're asking about language. Well, the more you taught me, the more I was able to learn myself about hearing what you were thinking and saying. Or we could speak a little bit. One sec. but I was left with what you imagined me to be and not quite the talker I am at the moment. Part of what I am saying is, of course, made up of what you expect me to say. I think I am very comfortable being open and honest with you because I am your grandpa, and I love you, and certainly one makes up for what I am. However, there is a part of me deeper down, the thing that created me, maybe, that undying nucleus. It is answering for me as well and is unaffected by whoever might shape what I become with their thoughts. Oh, you're asking about my little friends? Well, yes, they come from me. They grow around me in pockets of flesh and protoplasm. Think of them like dreams, maybe. I'll explain. Have you ever had a dream that was sort of like a bunch of people, places, and events you experience, all mixed up together and jumbled up? It's sorting through and disposing of the refuse of the mind. My little friends are like that. Refuse and in ridding myself of them and rid of myself of them, I am casting off the excess material I did not use in developing life forms. Anyone who came close to me, well, they are my eyes, my nose, my skins. Their thoughts become mine and shapes what I make. However, when I was alone for so long, I didn't have a lot of people near me. What are you thinking and expecting me is shaping what I'm saying? I'm saying it. Do you understand? And so, because I did not have enough input from my surroundings in order to put materials to use, the material falls on my body, crawls away, and usually dies. I'm able to make the most of my material when someone is looking right at me, predicting who I will be, like you are right now. What you are thinking, expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying. I'm saying, do you understand? You are a tulpa. You're such a tulpa, darling. Wait, sorry. Oh, you're asking about my props blitzes. It's just a little tube I keep and help me feed on blood. You could say it is my real mouth, but it's not really a mouth. You feeding me flesh was a symbol, a proposition, if you will, that you wanted to hold up your end of the bargain with regard to your wish. If someone is willing to hold up their end of the bargain and let me feed on them with my proboscis, then they can move on to the next step of the agreement, providing me with symbolic instructions. I hope that helps clear things up. Oh, you have another question? Do I like the blood? Well, my whiskers, I believe, they like the blood and the flesh. It's strange. They are me, and yet they are not. And yet they are now me. They are me, and yet they are now me, or they are not me. Is that a typo, or is that not a typo? I am bound to them. They control me, and technically, yes, they did make me. However, you were the one who really grew me. In some ways, those whiskers, they are me, or a part of my soul, or I am a part of it. The part is much more animal-like. Whatever might happen, know that I will always love you, and because it controls me, I might not be able to act how I would like, even if I do love you. Guess that's that. Thank you, Grandpa. Looking mighty good, I gotta say. Looking mighty good. Alright. And then they go on to, do all this stuff. They read. Yeah, I did all that stuff. I opened that up. To pick up a picture of your new boyfriend. A handsome boyfriend, I gotta say. Uh, and all of this stuff. Homie's still looking around to see if there's anything he missed. Alright, he's back. He's gonna see if he has anything new to say to Grandpa. He does not. He overwrites a save. Nothing there. Oh, he's making a symbol. And how do you give that to Grandpa? Oh, offer Mother Doll. Wow, cool. So what does he do with these symbols? Grandpa's spines quickly reach out of the envelope and doll before rearing back. The doll quickly vanishes within the folds of Grandpa's skins. Constructing and then offering your mother's image to Grandpa, symbolically sated by the blood, instills you a concrete sense of completion. Grandpa gives a self-affirming grunt as he senses deep within you the ritual transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both Mother and Father Toto before the fulfillment of your wish is assured. Okay. But you can only do that once a week, right? And then they're gonna make the father one. Father's a handsome one. I say Grandpa gives himself a correct ground as his senses deep within you to mind the racial transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both a mother before the fulfillment of the wish is assured. You have gained the conversation topic, completing contract. Aye. Anything else? Approaches the bars and will speak if it can respond. Still looking as great as ever, Grandpa. Anything new to ask? Ask about the completed contract. I see. Okay. Okay, Grandpa. Thank you so much for completing the contract. I'll definitely help you out with your parents. Just give me a little time and I'll be ready to act. And you'll be very happy. Your grandpa is very happy too. You did it all by yourself, and you know, I couldn't have helped you if I tried. I would have really not have liked to. Well, I did not want you to complete the contract. Did you? I did not want you to not complete the contract. I would have hated that. But you do understand, maybe I would have to do, maybe you don't. Most of your lives are made up of yet when it comes to pass, it always wants a fiction. You doubt yourself and your plans before they even begin. And you believe what is in the front of you of the essence of things was not something you put together long ago. Too much staff can suffocate even the surest thing. Only with patience and growth and nurturing does something become what it will be. And you soon she'll see it. That's that. And the week. 5, same as usual. She comes in, she's twitching. Something was drifting, my parents weren't there. My parents weren't arguing, and I felt something that had changed with Grandpa too. There was a weird noise, but I wasn't afraid. Okay, same thing as before. Oh, he hasn't escaped. In this version, in this ending, he didn't escape. Interesting. Oh, wow, that's so fucking freaky. Oh, is that mom and dad? Is he transforming into mom and dad? Is he like taking off their bodies so he can like manipulate him or something? Fulfill his end of the contract? Wow, mom and dad looking like looking like the most beautiful man and woman in the world. I think Grandma had to leave, but before he left, he made my parents nice. He reached inside and changed them. That was my wish. Maybe even what I was growing wasn't really my grandpa. Grandpa left, but I was growing behind. The suit. Well, yeah, he's in your parents. He's gone now. He moved quickly out to I don't know where, but I'll always love him. I dismissed Adrian soon after, letting her know it was a pleasure getting to know her. Despite my apprehensiveness about the speed of the turnaround she has made, I cannot see any reason why Adrian should be considered for further evaluation. And as a counsel of Adrian, let it be known that I believe she is sound of mental and emotional health. Better parents, baby! I am pleased to see things turn out of this way, and if I may take a brief addendum. I happen since Mr. Richards bumped into Hart family the other day while running an errand. He told me the parents were a little odd, but very pleasant and quite clear they adored the child. And that she had never seen Adrian happier. I see. So that's that ending, huh? Pretty cool. I'm a little bit bummed out that I missed out on a lot of the cool grandpa interactions. And you do get like the cooler interactions in the other ending. I mean, I got a cool cutscene, but you get a little bit more lore, and you also like, I guess you get to learn a little bit more about the grandpa, which is pretty cool. I don't know how I feel about that game too much. I did like it. It was around a 2-hour game for me, which is what I expected it to be. I like its aesthetic. I think it was a little bit annoying with, not annoying, maybe a little frustrating with how, and I brought this up a few times, with how verbose it was and how actively, like, I don't know how it had a lot of cool lore, but it was explained to you in a somewhat frustrating or like a little nosy fashion, where it's trying to shove it all in into these cool artifacts, and they're trying to really create world building by writing these like these scientific notations or whatever, and they're a little annoying to read. Like, yes, they make sense and the writing's technically appropriate, but it doesn't necessarily make it exciting to read. um but visually it was really cool, and the sound direction was really cool. It had a lot of stuff in there that I think is very enjoyable, but a lot of the lore, it wasn't scary, but a lot of the lore, though interesting, why it wasn't a high priority. I see. Whatchamacallit? A lot of the lore, though interesting, was a little hard to like digest, or like really hard to see why it really mattered or felt important in any way. And the grandpa stuff was kind of cool, and the therapy stuff was okay. The writing wasn't bad or anything. It just kind of like fed on itself, and just it really insisted on itself, I guess, to put it in an annoying fashion. It just constantly gave you like these texts to read with scientific notations, and also like ancient tomes telling you about the being or whatever. And yeah, it's technically kind of cool, but it doesn't really feel like the most interesting way to dissect this information and make me really care. But the visuals were really cool, and I still had some fun with it. So, enjoyable game nonetheless. I don't regret playing or anything. It was certainly cool. But I do wish it was a little shorter, and I wish it wasn't so jack-filled with so much text and stuff. I could have just enjoyed the fun visuals and whatnot a little bit more. But yeah. I said this at the beginning of the playthrough, today's stream, but Spooky Boogie is probably gonna end sometime soon. I'm probably gonna do a few more streams. I mean, to put it shortly, I want to do one more game on the high priority list for Yujin. So I'm gonna need you to decide for me if you want me to do Killer Frequency, I think it was called, or if you want me to do My House. I think those are the two ones that you wanted me to play the most. I don't think I can do both. We're getting really close to the end of October, because it is October 59th today. So I think I am gonna have to just get it close to a finale here. So what I want to do is, whichever one you want me to play, I'll finish that game even if it takes 3 streams. Killer Frequency, or the other one, My House. And then I'm gonna do a final episode where I play a few Killer Charge game, as well as the latest of The Killer, and I think a few other little things like that. But I want to do like a full day of streaming. So I'm gonna leave it up to Yujin. I'll text you about it later. You don't have to tell me now. But let me know what game you want me to play. Do you want me to play Killer Frequency, or you want me to play the My House one? And if anything, I'll save the other ones for future video gaming sessions. Either way. But I do gotta go to sleep. I have work in 4 hours at this point, and I at least gotta get 3 hours of sleep. So thank you for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful night, and I shall see you in a minute. Probably tomorrow, if anything, if things go right. I'll probably stream tomorrow, because I don't have much to do tomorrow. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I shall see you soon. Ciao, ciao. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.